everybody. Welcome to episode 189 of the Planet Destiny podcast. We're back once again with a very special guest, the one, the only, Tiddlywinks.
Hello.
Hey, of Tiddlywinks on Twitter and Tiddly on Twitch fame.
That's true. I went OG. It was the thing. Yeah.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight for the show.
No, thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it. What an honor. It's nice to be here.
It's great to have you here. And like I said earlier, Dan's no longer the face of the show, so double thanks for being here.
YouTube thanks you.
Yeah.
We all know how the YouTube crowd loves Dan.
They think my voice is majestic and that my laugh is perfect.
I mean, who doesn't?
How much did you pay them?
I gave somebody in the comments a fake beer, so I don't know.
Oh,
I guess that's the.
No wonder.
Yeah, I think that's
how
it.
you win the favor there with fake beers.
I don't think I won that guy's favor.
Maybe if it was real beer, you would have won the favor.
Maybe, but I don't know.
Don't skip out. Who dislikes your laugh? Like, why? It's like the laugh of a child.
I will talk about this off stream.
All right.
Consummate professional here. Consummate professional.
In a more safe environment. I understand. You're surrounded by friends. We're here for you.
I still.
But all right. Welcome back, everybody. In addition to Tiddly, we have got the return of Mr. Aura taking center stage tonight because we can't control whose face shows up in the middle on Discord.
I didn't pick this.
We did. Thank you, Aura.
It was actually in the stipulations for having Tiddly on the show that Aura.
I wanted the Laura to be the largest.
There we go.
As is my esteem for him. It's true.
What year did you get that hoodie? Yeah.
Why? Because it says a store I'm not allowed to walk into anymore with gray hair?
No, I'm just asking. Like, did you get like early 2000s? Like, it's got to be comfortable.
I actually don't know. I don't think so, because I think this is a wifey gave me this hoodie, which would make it within the past 8 years.
Awesome.
But I have a wide variety of hoodies.
I want to know about the beanies. I want to know how extensive the collection is and how often you wash them.
The problem is all the other ones I have chroma key. So I just look like this weird. So I'm kind of stuck with only this one, and the other ones are really thick, so I can't hear anything through them. This one actually reads pretty well.
So it's the optimal beanie. But my question,
this podcast
beanie. I always had that one hat that you like probably should have gotten rid of, and kept anyway. That was like bleached. You know, it was like black hat, but the sun bleached it brown, and the inside of it was kind of turning yellow. And the brim of it was kind of tattered. Funny. It's the only one that fit, man. I still have it. Everybody really mad at me. I'm getting bullied everywhere. I just changed my battle leg. I literally just changed my battle leg because you were bullying me, man. Like, jeez.
Did you really?
Yeah, I literally changed my battle leg to just Aura now because everyone's like, dude, evil Aura, all the X's 420 notes goes, bro. What's that?
You're partying with XXX Sephiroth 420? Sheesh.
I know. I liked it. It was Mimi.
Phone number.
It was good.
Maybe it's horrifying.
He did.
But I like to believe that Aura gets hurtful notes in the mail from people who just don't like his name.
In the mail?
Roasted in Twitch chat live. Just live.
Edgy.
Benny Schmurder did it. Fitzy did it. Like everyone. Like as soon as I join up, especially if they've never played with me before, and I join up, like, who's this XX dude? I'm like, that's me.
I have a Twitch channel.
I still have that AOL email address too.
We actually have a real live case of username regret here on the show. We've only heard about this from the 14-year-olds who are XX420 Blaze It, who grow up and realize that's not the greatest username in the world. We actually have a real life case of this here, and I'm glad it's you, Aura. I'm glad it's you.
Good looking out.
Yeah. Thanks. Got you. We'll bring it up here anytime. We're against bullying on this show, unless it's hilarious.
I'm into that.
Yeet. Oh, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, we've got our roundtable of hosts. We've got Nim Plays, Dan Finity, me. Aura's back. It's going to be a good show. We're going to be talking some Destiny, some other stuff. But first, we're going to be talking all about our guest, who was gracious enough to join us tonight, Tiddly.
Hello.
We take some time to let everybody know, if they don't know who you are. That's weird. Sure. You should probably figure out who she is. I think we got an email for that or something there in the chat. But why don't you let people know who you are, what you do, what you're all about?
Sure. No, so I played Destiny since the very beginning. I actually didn't play the beta. I remember watching my friend play the beta, and I didn't like it. And I was like, what is this stupid game you're putting all this time into? And then once it got released, I started playing it, and I basically never looked back. I actually have a doctorate in real life. Yeah, I do. I know. I have a useless piece of paper that says I'm a doctor in education. And somehow I became a partner streamer on Twitch. If you asked me when I was 10 what I would do in my life, I don't know that I would have described this particular path, but this is where we are. Actually, we just renovated our house. We just bought a house. And our main builder, his wife works in career development, and she asked me to come talk to high school kids about career choices. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. I can go talk to them about careers in education. And no, they wanted to know about careers in video games. And I was like, how did I get here? This is not what I meant to do with my life. So I think the other big thing about me is that I successfully used Twitch as a dating service, which I know is kind of a
dangerous game. That's a dangerous game.
I know, but I did successfully. I used to live in Los Angeles. I met my husband playing Destiny and on Twitch, and it all worked out great. So that's a huge thing. I moved to Minnesota from Los Angeles, and of course, my father, when he married us, he did have to say, of course, it was our destiny to be together. Of course, he was so cute. He thought he was original. Like he thought he was the first person in the entire world who ever thought of that. So it was really cute. So anyway, I'm a partner streamer. I stream Monday through Friday on Twitch. I stream mostly Destiny, but whatever I'm having fun playing. I'd say I focus on community development. My gameplay is like pretty average. I feel like my community is intelligent, but we don't take ourselves too seriously. We're pretty mischievous. I have a very strong troll management philosophy on Twitch. So that's fun. But yeah, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to talk about Destiny things. Actually, last night I went out for drinks with my husband, and I was like, oh my God, I need to study, because that's me. I'm like an educator, like I study real hard. It's like, ask me questions, quiz me about Destiny stuff. I'm like, I need to ask you about like 150 hand cannons. I need to be ready for this freaking podcast. So basically, I got drunk last night and talked to my husband about Destiny. But that's one of my favorite things to do with my husband and with other people on Twitch, is I love talking about the game. So I'm really excited to be here to do that.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's incredible. We have an actual doctor.
No, I mean, I can't save your life, but I can talk about, paradigm shifts and things. So yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Get some tips on setting up a good Twitch stream. By the way, I'm going to need you at some point in time to add doctor to your name, Dr. Because there's no way you can get away with not putting that out there.
Oh man, I know. But the thing is, I don't know, like for me, the title, it doesn't matter, because like my community isn't about that. It's about connecting kind of person to person. And so I don't want to put that separation there, So I've intentionally not, I mean, people know don't hide it, but it's not, I mean, I feel like you can be intelligent and still kind of connect on a human level. And that, for me, that's really important. Like fart jokes are really important. Like being able to not take yourself too seriously is really important, because I find it incredibly like frustrating when people are just like, oh, I must pretend I'm so smart all the time. No, not for me. So anyway, that's me.
Well, right on. I think that's a beautiful introduction here. We covered a lot of the things that I usually ask guests, like how they got into Destiny and all that kind of stuff. I think it's amazing that you looked at me like, this game is stupid. I don't want this. And you got to play it and we're like, oh.
I did! I thought the beta was really terrible, which is why with all these new games coming out, like Apex Legends, like, D2, like Division 2, like all these games that are coming out, I never want to be completely dismissive, because my experience with Destiny was that I originally dismissed it, and then it became more than like just a pastime. It became kind of a way of life for me. Like I'm logging in like 3 to 4 hours a day while I'm working full time. Like so I can never say at an outset that I know if a game is going to be good or bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You never know when something like that's just going to come out and be life changing. You're absolutely right with that. And I'd say Destiny's been pretty life changing for a lot of the people here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think that's actually kind of an interesting place to take this conversation next, because you mentioned Apex Legends and like the Division 2, and of course, a lot of people got their chance to try that out. Has everybody here played Apex Legends?
Mm-hmm.
Not yet.
Okay. What have you been? It's an interesting game. Like a lot of Destiny players have been jumping on, like Fallout and them. Good friends of the show have been playing a lot of that. And the reason I bring that up is because Destiny is a fun game. It's a great game. Destiny 2 has been pretty good since Forsaken's come out. But there's a lot of stuff that's getting ready to drop. Like, Nim, you and me have been playing Anthem. You and me have been playing The Division 2, especially these past couple of days with the private demo. And some of those things are looking pretty darn good.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, that's normal for a game to be like Destiny to be out as long as it has been. There's going to be ups and downs in the player base. We're about a month away from a new expansion content release with Joker's Wild dropping. So I think it's perfectly fine to move on to other things. Content drip. A little bit of a faucet.
A little bit of a
Just a little bit of a drip here and there. Yeah.
And so that leads me to the question of what have you been streaming, Tiddly? Has it been primarily Destiny still?
Yeah, Destiny. I mean, I think there's different kinds of people who play Destiny. And I think that lots of people have discussed this, right? There's a more casual subset who don't have a lot of time to dedicate to it.
Yeah.
And I'm not in that subset. I'm logging in and streaming at 4 hours a day. So, and even then, I'm still working on my secondary characters on PC and PS4 because crazy enough, I still try to do it on multiple platforms without cross save. I know, it's crazy. I know. Send me some love because it's a lot. And then people who do it on 3, and I don't even know how they do that. I have a Xbox character that's level 300 that I haven't touched in ages.
Yep.
But I mean, I think with Apex Legends coming out, and Division 2 and Anthem coming out in a couple weeks, I think it's a good time for it because I think that Destiny is in a little bit of a content lull. And I do have some concerns about Season of the Drifter coming out. I'm excited about Crimson Days. I'm excited about Season of the Drifter, but there's no new raid content in Season of the Drifter.
Yep.
And Gambit can be really onerous to solo queue. So I'm curious what changes they're going to push out to Gambit to make it more fun. I don't know if they're going to add a competitive playlist. I don't know what they're going to do with it, but I think my husband hates Gambit. So he's really concerned about Season of the Drifter because he's like, what am I going to do if all of the endgame rewards you're chasing are related to Gambit? Breakneck really almost killed me. Breakneck almost destroyed my love for Gambit completely. Like it took so long and it was so frustrating. So I guess I'm streaming Destiny for now. I'm not afraid to kind of switch in between games. I love Destiny, and I think the reason that we complain about the game a lot of the times is because we love the game so much, we want it to succeed. But I do feel that. I do feel that we're in a little bit of a lull, and I do have some concerns about sort of like you said, the content trickle.
Yeah. I think that's a really good answer, and you're absolutely right. We've got Joker's Wild getting ready to come out. We don't really know anything about Joker's Wild right now.
Yeah.
The fact that Thorn is going to be in it somewhere.
Woo!
Yeah, it's
Too exotic.
But oh god, if Thorn requires like 100 games of Gambit.
Get ready, guys.
It's a PvP gun, right? You have to think it's going to have some kind of PvP quest line, right?
Yeah,
I think it's a PvP gun.
We've kind of started it
I
already.
assume that it is.
I mean, I'm just assuming based on Destiny 1.
Yeah,
right.
But who knows? Who knows?
If it was useful in a few other areas, and if they did some kind of tweaks to kind of make it more useful for the entire player base.
So, I mean, we've kind of already started the quest for Thorn. This last word quest was not a last word quest.
Yeah.
It had absolutely nothing to do with the last word. The last word was thrown in there because Shin is like, yo, I see what you're doing. Stop it. And because I mean, a lot of the steps that we did for last word, that was pretty much Thorn quest for D1 minus getting the void kills.
It was nowhere near the Thorn quest for D1.
No, not nearly as difficult. My husband likes to joke that there's somebody at Bungie who's just basically has like a random quest generator and then just presses a button and is like, oh, 20 public events with Cabal. Oh, 16 lost sectors. Oh, kill X number of ads with this gun.
That'll work.
I mean, but I have to say the last part of the Last Word quest where you're like, you know, mano a mano. That was cool. Like that for me, that felt like the space cowboy gun. Like I loved that. That was really well done, I thought.
Yeah. And again, like all of those steps were you cleansing a hive artifact, and you found a weapon.
Yeah.
And the weapon itself that that guy is using is called Protothorn.
Protothorn, yeah. At the very last fight, yeah, he's
Myelin actually just dropped a video about that today.
Interesting.
So the possibility that we might even see a different version of Thorn. Bungie has done this in the past already with Crimson being Red Death. There's a possibility that we may see a different version of Thorn, and there are 2 exotic quests in Season of the Drifter. There's one that's tied to the free seasonal update, and there's one tied to the annual pass. So
gotcha. Wasn't there some kind of intimation that they would release a gun called the Rose? It would heal or something like that. Do you guys remember that?
So it was rumored by Anon the 9 in Reddit that we might see Rose during Penumbra. I have a okay, so that bugs me because Thorn is Rose.
Same gun.
It's literally the same gun, and we don't even know. Like, there's not enough info in the lore to know that Rezel's Rose did anything special. Because for all we know, it could have just been a basic hand cannon that he just slapped some hive chitin on it and transformed it into Thorn. But we'll
Made
see.
It smell like shrimp.
Every time.
Come on, man. You can't tell me you look at Hive like a thrall and don't think, ew, space
cocktail sauce.
Oh, they do.
Hive are gross. Just sitting out in the sun. That's what they smell like in my head. That's my head canon. Never change it, man.
Well, they also have like that kind of like green, like everywhere. You gotta think that doesn't.
I mean, they do have like barnacles.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're. I never thought about it that way, but they're definitely fishy. Yeah.
That smelly space shrimp.
Ew.
Have we all gotten the Last Word, by the way? Has everybody here gotten it?
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of backlash was occurring.
Okay.
Due to how difficult the quest line was. And I don't know if it's only because people didn't play Destiny 1 or they didn't get the Thorn in Destiny 1, but your boy here got the Thorn on a hunter that didn't have a Void subclass at the time. So I had to use guns like Atheon's Epilogue and the Word of Crota, and thank God for Praetus Revenge, the only usable Void weapon in the entirety of the Destiny universe at that time, because I got it done. But it was like 500 kills with Void weapons and like a kill is 3 points and like a death is -2 or some.
It was something like that. Yeah,
it's hard.
Yeah. This Last Word quest was nothing compared to what we'd had to go through in the past for a weapon. At all. And we also talked about 2 weeks ago, we talked about how we kind of felt like this content release was uncomfortable. And as Black Armory specifically, and the Last Word quest is part of the Black Armory content trickle. And Tiddly brought it up. That mission at the end was phenomenal.
I loved it.
Wonderful.
It was spot
mission.
on. Yeah.
It almost made me want a PvP draw type.
Oh, that'd be cool.
One versus the other. Game mode.
Yeah, and they could go into a chat and be like, "Streamer 1v1 me," and then you like
just
mode.
Pew. I kind of wanted a little bit more of what they gave us, that little itty bitty tidbit, because that mission, despite the fact that it was glitchy for a lot of the population.
Yeah, I know. I heard about that.
It was really, really cool. So hats off to Bungie for. It's a trickle.
Yeah, I hear you though on the Last Word quest though, because I was one of the people who originally was like, "Oh, screw this! I ain't doing this. This is impossible." Because I'm a very average PvP player. But I mean, I think for me, I was streaming it, so I was nervous and I was trying to play aggressively because I feel like that's more fun to watch people play aggressively. So I always play aggressively in PvP when I stream. So when I turn stream off, I'm ashamed. I'm so ashamed of how I completed that quest line. I'm standing in the back. I got my pulse rifle. I'm tickling people with my pulse rifle, and I'm not dying. I like tickle, run away, tickle, run away. But when I did that, like as humiliating as it is to admit, I completed it in like 4 games or something. Like it was actually really incredibly easy to do.
See.
And part of me hopes that the Thorn quest line is going to be so onerous and difficult. Like, I don't know. I want it to be hard. I think for me, especially somebody who went into the Last Word quest and was like, oh God, this is so hard. Because it was so hard, it was so incredibly satisfying to complete. Like when I finished the PvP aspect of it, I was like, heck yes, this is great. When I finished, I didn't get the 1v1 thing, the last part, right away. It took me a couple tries. And when I finally did it, I was like, yes, I freaking did it. So there's nothing wrong with releasing difficult content as long as it's achievable, you know, and also the bar isn't set so high that like an average player like me can't, you know, cheesy pulse rifle in the back and finish it anyway. You know?
See, you call it passive, I call it smart.
That's
Plating to your strengths, knowing what's at stake.
Yeah.
And the fact that all you have to do is put damage on somebody, if somebody else cleans them up, it counts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, that is the key. And I think that a lot of people were just trying to play normal and didn't use that strategy. And that's why they were really struggling, you know?
Because I think the mentality behind that does like, all right, I gotta get kills, so immediately.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
to rush out there and get
They're
it.
like, let's go into mayhem, and then that'll go fast.
Do this and now I'll do
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
no.
I mean, I
Yeah,
played
bro.
that super mega passively. Again,
Yeah.
pulse rifle, my bygones, and a fusion
Yep.
rifle just for
Yep.
distance kills, and yeah.
Yep. But
I
yeah, so I am hoping that Thorn is going to be a difficult mission because I do enjoy content that's satisfying to complete, and I think if you make the content too easy, then it makes the game less fun.
yeah.
And I think that was one of the biggest issues with Vanilla D2 is making it really easy to grind. I think one of the smartest things that Destiny did just with Destiny 2 is I think that adding like a more grindy leveling aspect was really, really smart because it felt you had more to work to. I think they may have gone a little too far because I'm feeling at this point I can't finish grinding multiple platforms. Like I can't grind all my characters. I have to make choices with the grind now. So maybe it's pushed a little bit too far. I know that they increased exotic drops, which is great. I got 3 on Friday. It was insane. And they also increased prime drops, right, when you're below 600. So I think that's really smart to get kind of like catch people up. But I still think it's like they may have pushed it a little too far that way. I don't know. I don't know what you guys think.
It's definitely more heavy on the investment side of things.
Yeah.
100%.
But when it comes to that quest, I'm not somebody that does like PvP often.
Yeah.
And it took me longer than four matches, but then again, I was also like messing around with my loadouts a lot. Like, okay, what's gonna give me the most amount of kills here? And it just turned out I just needed to use Gwizinvest the entire time.
There you go.
And do Aura proud. And yeah, that's pretty much all I did, and got it at least in a night. It was grindable in an evening of playing games.
Yeah, that was doable. It was good. I liked it though. I thought it was good. But Forge definitely for me was one of the, like, I don't know, feel free to disagree, but I feel like it was one of the lesser successful aspects of the release. I think it's not necessarily the Forge itself, which I don't love. It's the quest line to unlock it, which I think is too much and maybe not necessary. You know? Plus it doesn't feel like an endgame activity to me. It never has. Like it feels like kind of like a blind well activity that you use to grind gear to do an endgame activity like a raid
Feels
or
like a side activity.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know what you guys think. I'm not a huge Forge person.
Not a controversial opinion at all. I think everybody's quest to
All day
unlock
in
the
the
Forge
Forge
is
today.
the worst part.
Yeah.
Worst part of Black Armory, I think, easily
Yeah.
is the quest to unlock the Forge. And I like the Forge activity, but it's not an in-game activity. It's not.
Right.
It's not a pinnacle kind of raid sort of situation. I look at it the same way I looked at what was that? Archon's Forge in Destiny 1? Was that what that was called in Rise of Iron?
Yeah.
Just kind of a little side activity you go to run,
Yeah.
like you said, to get gear and level up for the in-game.
Yeah, like Escalation Protocol, which, you know, had its day, and the gear you got from that was phenomenal, you know? Yeah. I actually have this argument with my husband quite a bit about the Forge, comparing it to like the Omnigul grind, the 2 blue Omnigul grind, because I want you guys to weigh in on this because we argue about this like nonstop, which obviously describes the nature of our relationship. So he thinks that the Forge is a better random roll grind than farm niggle, and I disagree. I feel like the Forge, because you have to unlock it, even if you're guaranteed to drop every time you do it, it takes longer to complete, and like the path is just, it just takes longer. And me, I'm like instant gratification. Even if 2 blues doesn't drop something for you every single time, for me, like you get in there, you complete it, it's fun, you see if you get something or not. Like, I don't know, I preferred the Omnigul random roll grind rather than the one that Destiny structured in the game. What do you guys think? Obviously I'm right. Yeah, because he's gonna listen to this later.
Clip it.
I don't think they're too far off from each other. Because I mean, at least with like the Destiny 1 farming the strikes, at least there was a variety for whatever you wanted to farm for, as opposed to like the Forges now. If you get just
you're locked in,
you go to Berglusia to get the same thing. Regardless. But I mean, personally, I don't find the chase for like god roll weapons too enticing. I haven't touched the Forges since I got the Jotun.
Jotun!
Yeah, that was like 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So you haven't done the lore for 500 kills with the Jotun or with the Isnagi's Burden or the Limonarch?
Yeah. So why is that? Why is the random roll Forge grind not exciting?
I think it's
because
exciting
you
for
have
some
to stop
people.
it. I mean, yeah, I think it's not as exciting because you have to stop it every couple of minutes to go back to the tower to grab a frame.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's because it's interrupted?
That's a big part.
Yes.
It's kind of like the overall feel, because I mean, even at that, you have to do that needless Ada visit when you get the radiant thing. So it's like you pick up the frame, go do it, then you have to go back to Ada, and then you have to go back into the Forge.
Yeah, that's
and in
could
most
be
cases,
taken
the
out
Forge
entirely.
isn't super accessible. Like the Bergosia Forge takes forever to get to.
Yeah, so it kind of like takes you out of that experience of just kind of like mindlessly doing it, right? Because you have to actually apply effort to do something else and then come back to it. What would you say that there's a lot of perks that aren't desirable also?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You have to have trash perks in order to have god rolls, though.
Yeah.
But how many god rolls are
always
there?
gonna be a chase.
How many god rolls are there on those guns?
Rampage.
Rampage.
I mean, you want damage boost, right? And range boost. And maybe I don't know what kind of lens you want, but like there's a limited number of excellent perks.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not a big like Crucible guy, and when I do go into the Crucible, I'm using silly weapons. I'm using fusion rifle, tractor cannon, or a sword.
Yeah.
So personally, from my like gameplay perspective, I don't really need or have the need to get a outlaw kill clip.
Yeah.
Pulse,
And if you did, you could just pull the inaugural address out of your collections.
That's true.
Right. Which also was really interesting because why am I still using curated Leviathan weapons for everything? Now that we have random rolls, shouldn't there be some other thing to replace that? Yeah. But I'm pulling out my Midnight Coup, I'm pulling out my inaugural address. Why is that? Not to say that Thunderlord isn't amazing or there's other weapons that aren't really amazing, but it's strange to me that that's what I'm still reaching for. Or even like, I mean, Ecolo Shoddy, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a threat level that has the roll. So
that's part of the reason why you're still using the Icolos, though. If you had a threat level that was the curated roll from Scourge.
Yeah.
Nation of Beasts is a really powerful weapon. The Blast Furnace is insane.
Yeah,
I might still get outgunned by a Bygones. I think a God roll Bygones will beat my Blast Furnace head to head, but very seldomly do I run into a player like that. The Blast Furnace is very, very worth it. The Kindled Orchid, a lot of people really, really enjoy too.
It's a good hand cannon.
People are going after Surrounded, and there's one other perk that does all the damage when people are around you.
When you don't masterwork it, masterwork it if you get big surrounded.
Right. So there's people that have certain weapons, but you bring up a very valid point, and this is something that goes back to Destiny 1. It's very hard to unseat a really powerful weapon once you've got one. The Midnight Coup is and probably will continue to be until it's capped by a level a go-to weapon for a lot of people. It's easily accessible too. You complete a raid, you can go and buy it. Versus some of these weapons, trying to get that roll on a Kindled Orchid might take you a month, might take you 3 more than that, depending.
The
The Forges are neat. They're not endgame. They're glorified public events. I'm sorry, Bungie.
Yeah, no one ever.
But the end game for Black Armory, I'm not sure how many people have even tried this, is Niobe Labs.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't tried it. I watched a lot of it.
That you cracked the code.
Yep.
Yeah.
I haven't even attempted it yet. I want to, but there are less than a handful of people on my friends list who have that emblem, or at least show it off. That's your true end game for Black Armory. Scourge of the Past.
But for me,
are people going to go back and do that now that the Forge is unlocked, though?
Yeah.
No.
For me, it's
not at all.
And also that now that people know how to do it, so it's just basically following a set of rules rather than actually solving a puzzle.
It doesn't make it easier.
That's not a carrot I want.
Well, sure.
This game is all about carrots, and during this season, we've been they've been trickling them out, and we've just been scarfing them down as soon as they go. But some of them I don't want to eat. Like some of them have been cooked for far too long, and it's just like, okay, well, somebody else got it. I'm happy for them. I don't necessarily need that for my ego or anything. Right. So I'm just gonna. Somebody else can eat my carrots. It's fine.
So I guess that begs the question: what carrots do you want to pursue?
Meaningful content.
Meaningful rewards.
Meaningful rewards is for sure.
Like, because the last word. The last word, I think, is that entire quest is a perfect example of a carrot that you want to eat.
Like, I ate the whole thing in one day.
Exactly.
Now I'm like, dude, I'm hungry again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so not to the point where I want to go on PlayStation 4 and get it.
Yeah.
That's the kind of guy I am. When I look at my collections and I look at my triumphs and I go look at another platform, I'm like, I got to do all this all over again. Let me get my Luna's Hal again. No, I'm not. That's not what I'm talking about. But meaningful rewards and a meaningful path to get them. I don't want to do any more public events or lost sectors.
You want them to turn off the random quest generator? Turn it off.
And maybe that's me being bad at the MMO thing, because apparently that's what these are really built off of, is doing the same thing all over again. I don't know.
Think so.
I don't play them.
Think so.
This is all Destiny's pretty much all I've played for the past 5 years.
Yeah, I hear you.
We did so much of this stuff throughout year one that I'm almost scarred and have PTSD to go back and do them again.
Yeah.
When you talk about faction rallies and you talk about just overall grind, I can get to the max level by just doing these events all the time.
Yeah.
Well, you know, one of the things, and TBL and I have talked about this in plenty of times before, like during his streams, is that I feel like with Destiny 1 year one, they nailed the end game reward system.
Forever 29.
Forever 29.
They tied exotics to like the raid and then the nightfall, and those are things that felt rewarding to actually do, as opposed to now it's like you can go do a crucible match, and if somebody pops a boon, or if you get lucky, you get an exotic there, or if you go do a strike, you might get an exotic from
a basic red acolyte who'll drop
exactly, like
right there on the floor.
I understand that they're very far few in between in terms of like the drop rate out in the world, but I don't know. I really felt like in year one of Destiny 1, there was a reason and a desire to go run a Nightfall, because hey, maybe I'll get a Gjallarhorn, or maybe I'll get you know,
it was directed content. You going to specific activities because you knew those rewards drop there.
Yeah,
and there's a huge lack of that in Destiny 2.
I think the token system was one of the biggest vanilla D2 mistakes, because it was the most unfun way of getting loot possible. And that's really what it's all about, right? Is having an enjoyable, memorable experience, not just getting the loot, but enjoying getting the loot. And I remember when I got my first Gjallarhorn, I got it from the exotic chest during a VOG.
Yeah.
How cool is that? And everyone's emoting and doing their dances on the chest, and then this amazing weapon pops out, and it's like magic and sparks, and it's amazing. Like can you describe something similar happening to you in D2? Like something magical like that. Like that is
that because we've been playing this game for 5 years though.
It could be it's attached to nostalgia.
Yeah.
It could be that. It could be partly that. And I have to say that I think, and Bungie is continuing to look towards nostalgia when they're pushing out new releases, introducing Last Word, introducing Thorn, re-releasing guns that we know and love. But I think there's something to be said for some of the amazing new weapons that they pushed out. I think that the boop cannon is absolutely amazing. What a clever idea, and it's so much fun to use. The idea of using debuffs with weapons and abilities is fantastic. I also kind of like to diverge and come back a little bit. I also think that our expectations for modern day video games is very different from our expectations from video games when we first started playing video games, because we've gone from an environment where video games are incredibly static. You know, you buy a game, you buy Tomb Raider, you play it, you're done. You're not expecting the developers of Tomb Raider to push out a different level. You're not expecting them to take your game and change it in a certain way. And I think to that extent, the way we consume games has changed. And I think the expectations of the developers has changed, and it's become incredibly difficult to be a developer in a modern day video game, because you're not expected to just create an end product. You're expected to create an end product and then sustain that end product over time. And the problem with that is when somebody plays a game, they become attached to it. And I think Destiny is incredibly indicative of that. I think we put so much time and love and care into our characters and our weapons, and we love logging in and sort of seeing that representation or avatar, right? Our representation, and because it's a toy that we love, when Bungie comes in and changes something, then we get upset because they broke our toy, right? Like it's so it's an incredibly difficult environment to work in, I think. And I think that's why Destiny's having a hard time. I think any kind of video game that's supposed to sustain multiple year timelines has a hard time, because it's just a different environment and it's a different consumer. So,
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, especially, I think the Destiny community really stands out with this sort of thing. We're always expecting something new. We're always expecting something to be added in for people to grind and chase after. And I think for good reason. That's kind of the way things have been set up for the past couple of years. And it's a good sign that people still want to play this game and this franchise so much that they're sitting there like, give us more. We want
more. It's very positive. And I think that's the other thing that I always is there's a lot of salt around Destiny, right? There's a lot of criticism of the developers. I think that people get very angry, and anger isn't apathy. If we didn't care at all about the game, you wouldn't see all the noise on Reddit. You wouldn't see all the noise from Twitch streamers. You wouldn't see all the noise on Twitter. The reason that there's so much energy around it is because people really care about the game. They care about the content. They want it to be good. So for me, that's a huge sign. And for people saying, oh yeah, Apex Legends, Anthem, like any of these Division 2, they're going to push out Destiny. I don't agree, because I think there's a lot of love for the game. I think that it's gonna continue to persist because there's people who care about it.
Destiny Killer number 967.
Right? I mean, the game is a Destiny Killer. It's so funny.
So I mean, you highlight one of the perennial problems with Destiny, and a real conundrum that Bungie has tried to solve for the past couple of years. How do they keep this up? How do they keep that carrot on the stick going when 6 or 7 months into Forsaken, everybody's sitting here right now like, what do I log on to do? Like, Forge, there's nothing for me to go for in the Forges. I finished the last word in 2 hours. I just wait for the next content release and then burn through that in a day. How do they keep up with that? Especially now that things are up in the air when it comes to the future of the franchise. With Activision out, we have no idea what's happening with Destiny 3 or what's coming after Penumbra.
Right.
We're still waiting on that.
I'm going after triumphs. I'm going after collections. I literally did 500 Izanagi Burden kills in the Izanami Forge today in one day.
Why though?
I'll tell you what. After doing that, I can't put that sniper down now. I feel like I'm a god with it now that I've done 500 kills with it. So they forced me to improve as a player with that weapon. There's nothing else out there that I really want to play. I got to get caught up on these things I didn't get to do throughout the course of year one in terms of collections and open worlds and whatnot. They're just little things that are left over for me to do. I spent all week in the Crucible. I hate to say I'm kind of tired of memeing people. But I'm a little bit tired of memeing people for right now. So it was just something to just chill and vibe with. And that's one of the things that Destiny checks that mark off that I'm not sure any other games out there will, as Anthem comes out, as Division 2 comes out, that you can just chill, vibe, and play. And if you just want to go after a collections item and turn the music up and I feel like that's a very specific thing that very few video games will allow you to do. And Destiny does it really well. That's why I logged in today.
Yeah, I think that's also you're a particular kind of player. I don't know that a player. I think that some people are looking for like bigger carrots or more like meaningful carrots that are less grindy.
100%.
But I also think that my answer for that question is PvP is what's going to make the game sustainable. I think the best thing that Destiny 2 could possibly do now is bring back 3v3 Trials Elim. Trials. So I think that right now, they have to. They have to bring it back for Season of the Drifter. I really they do. I think right now PvE is king in Destiny 2, and PvP for Destiny 1 was the biggest factor that allowed the game to sustain over so long. Yeah. So
I think Trials is done, and I think they're waiting for the right opportune moment to push it, because I still think they're hitting 750K, if not more, pings a day of players, and until that number kind of goes down to the, I don't even know what it was at its lowest point, 300,000, 400,000 players, like something like that.
300,000, I want to say, which is still phenomenal for weekend numbers for a game.
But, I think they're gonna wait. I think it's gonna be, if it was me, it would be a strategic launch.
Yeah.
When Division, when Anthem, whatever was coming out and being at their strongest, to me that would be the opportune moment to say, surprise.
Trials.
Yeah, because Trials can compete with anything else out there. I don't think Bungie expected it to be what it turned out to be, but it was an incredibly amazing accident, and it turned out to. It really did. It really saved D1. It really made it. It turned streamers into stars. Like it is amazing. Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Nim?
Sorry. Yeah.
I may or may not have forgotten.
I'm like Italian Chilean, so if I try to talk over people, it's because I'm really excited and I like.
No, it's beautiful. No, I mean, you're right there with Trials. I think Trials. I hope you're right, Aura. I hope they've got it done, and they're just kind of hovering above the launch button, just like wait for it. Wait until you see the whites of the Division 2's eyes.
Yeah.
Because that was a game mode that really they had no business really changing it from D1 to D2. It was perfect as it was, and when we hit the Taken Spring, when we hit that huge drought after the Taken King came out, Trials carried Destiny 1. It carried it until Rise of Iron came, and then even after that,
it carried it during House of Wolves and Taken King Lol, because it was like 6 months of no content, and it was just
half a year
people
of
chirping people to the lighthouse.
Yeah,
and that's definitely a game mode that's pretty heavily missed in Destiny 2, and I hope we see it soon, man. Like,
there's a couple things to me that might still need to be ironed out, and that's what do you do to comp to make it something that matters once Trials comes out.
I mean, you still have the pinnacle weapons in comp that Trials doesn't have. Well, it has its own weapons, but you can't get comp weapons in Trials and gear.
I think a meaningful loot system. I think one thing that Trials did well in D1 is that it had gear that you wanted to grind for. Talk about carrots. The kitty cloak. Do you remember the kitty cloak?
The kitty cloak, yeah.
Oh, I wanted a kitty cloak. That was pretty amazing. So, but even Doctrine of the Passing, like amazing weapons, amazing looking gear. I think if they did that from comp and Trials, that would be amazing, and having kind of signatures for both, but having it be accessible for average gamers too. So I think Destiny 1 did that really well. It's like you could access some of these really like exciting rewards. Mm-hmm. So I think if they could do that, that would be what I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That's certainly a game mode that I think is heavily missed in D2 right now. And shoot, like that's an interesting question of what to do with comp if and when Trials comes back. Does that just become like the premier game mode in the comp playlist?
Comp players don't even like comp right now.
Yeah.
Maybe just take it out. Maybe it's seen stay. I don't know.
Maybe they tried it, didn't work.
They tried it. It was moderately okay, and we're done.
Maybe go for a more streamlined.
Replace it.
Or add it, I don't know, like rotate it or something like that. Have it be like Iron Banner, like rotate it through. People are excited about it.
Trials was only the weekend. It was like what, Friday at noon through Monday or whatever.
And that event basis is really good. I think that for Shattered too. I don't think they need to have PvP or PvE content accessible all the time. I think making it more event-based is smart.
Yeah,
because that just makes the world feel more alive.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I'm excited. I know what I'm going to do this Friday. I'm going to Shattered
but also tying certain quest steps to it. Maybe not
or certain
so much.
ships that just never drop to it, ever in the history of dropping.
Yeah.
So you guys would like to see some of that stuff not come back with trials? No quests tied to trials, Dan?
See, I would not mind like having a quest tied to trials, but maybe not to like. Maybe if I'm going for this gun in PvE, it doesn't require me to go and get 3 wins in trials. You know, like
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the the special black armory thing where you had to wait until you got Shattered Throne, but you only have that thing for 2 weeks, and you got it on the first week of the cycle, so now you're SOL.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're talking about the rare bounties from Ada.
Yeah.
Right?
So, yeah. And so, I mean, I don't know, like a little more thought maybe into the quest steps.
I think they want to push variety. I think Bungie wants you.
I'm fine with that, but I don't know about like that specific example is one that was frustrating to people that I know who are going for things in the game, and it did seem unfair because like they'd get it and they're like, well, I gotta hold on to this
sniper rifle for another 3 weeks. Yeah, because that was tied to the Izanagi's burden, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So don't have anything that's time gated preempt completion of a quest line.
Right.
So just be thoughtful about that.
Yeah.
That or titles too.
You know.
Titles tied to RNG is kind of booty.
Yeah. Pins Halo in chat will
the
say
entire
amen to that.
Wayfarer title is basically RNG, isn't it? Like the 90% of it.
Yep.
Got to get some of those Nightfall drops, which
Yep.
first you have to wait for the Nightfall to
Wait for the Nightfall to happen. Yeah.
And then you gotta hope you get it. Which, by the way, did everybody see that hilarious glitch that happened at Reset this week? Where right after Reset, we had 7 strikes for Nightfall that you could choose from.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, on Twitter. So that was a glitch. That was
a thing. It didn't last long. They fixed it in like 45 minutes. But why did they fix it though? Because that was kind of awesome to have 7 different strikes to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
And it had like all the strikes that I needed. It was like strange terrain and whatever gives you the auto rifle.
Duty bound. That's Savathun.
Savathun's mixtape.
Yeah. The gun's actually very good. I didn't even realize it was a year 1 weapon, how good it actually is. I had no idea. It's actually a pretty good gun. Why are you laughing at me?
I'm looking at Dan.
Oh. Well, I said duty.
Duty.
No, move on. It's fine. It's fine.
It's not fine, Dan.
It's fine. It's okay.
I don't believe him.
So what do they do then? So let's say they bring trials back. What do they do to make it that premier game mode again? What would you like to see? Would you like to see it come back as a weekend only thing, just like it was before? Would you like to see new weapons and armor for it? Because with trials in D1, that got weapon and armor refreshes.
Yeah,
basically anytime there was a content release.
Mm-hmm.
Every year. Yeah.
Yep.
Everything.
Yep.
That's notoriously.
Yeah, all of that. Ditto. Yeah.
Notoriously not a thing in Destiny 2. I mean, the Earth, like planetary vendors, are still selling the same things they were back in year 1.
Yeah.
There was always one weapon that was the sought after gun to go to. There was the pulse rifle. I can't think of it right. That was Iron Banner.
That was Iron Banner.
What was it called? Blind Perdition. And then you had Doctrine of Passing. And what was the season? I guess the 3rd year of it. There was always one, at least one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That became meta. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But I just wanted to go back the way that it was, 3v3 elimination.
Yep.
I think the weapon economy is perfect. You are rewarded for a kill with your special weapons now. 1 res token per character. Even put back in push physics, because I push my teammates all over the damn place when it's not a res involved. So.
Oh yeah, remember push me. I'm gonna res. Push me. Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I don't think they need to change a single thing. I think everything that you said is spot on. I think having loot that's desirable, having 3v3 elim is great. I think it'd be interesting to talk about snipers in the game too, because I was talking to some of my more comp-oriented friends about Last Word and how it's changing the PvP meta. And I'm not like a big PvP person, but it is interesting because there was a lot of speculation that Last Word and its release would integrate more sniper usage into PvP.
It has. It's
because
created more
Yes.
players who miss their shots. In my experience. It must be from putting it in the vault for so long that some people are a little bit rusty, but
Lose their hands.
yeah,
yeah, but it's supposed to be like a shotgun stopper, right? Like you
100%.
close range, they get in your face, you pull out your gun and you stop them, right? So you have space. You don't need another shotgun to counter that shotgun, or you can
Yeah.
put like a different secondary. So
The
I just
last
think
word, and this is the where PC versus console really has come into play.
Yep.
The last word on mouse and keyboard is a laser.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The last word on controller is a bucking bronco.
Yes.
It
Yes.
is,
Recoil
it
is a huge
sloppy,
issue.
nasty mess on controller.
Yeah, it's a
I don't
huge
care Who you
issue.
ask? It's not
Yep.
a great weapon on console. On
Mhm.
PC with a mouse, it's pretty good.
Eco's SMG exactly the same, and it's
But are you
and it's
talking-
interesting because I think that they haven't fixed that, because there's definitely weapons way better on PC than they are on console.
Mm-hmm.
But wait, Aura, are you
So-
talking about the last words kick ADSing or from the hip?
Regardless, really hasn't much mattered to me. ADS on mouse and keyboard is where I see people being dominant on.
Yeah.
I mean, I've watched a guy, his name's It's Irons from. I mean, he's a good player regardless, but he didn't miss a single shot of it, not one. And the majority of people I watch and play against on PC really don't seem to be missing that much. You go and watch some streams on people on console, it's a bit of a different story. But from what I understand, what is it? Aim down sights mouse is really good. Hip
Yes.
fire on mouse is not. Hip fire on controller is pretty good. Aim down sights on controller is not. I think.
No.
No.
Almost.
awful.
Almost. Everything's good on PC. Hipfire
Everything's
or
good.
sights is laser-like, and hipfire is okay on controller on PC, and it's mostly okay on console as well.
Yeah.
Yes, with controller is gosh darn ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a good gun. I don't think it's
Yeah.
a good gun. I think it's important because it does push more people into trying sniping versus just running around with a shotgun.
Mhm.
Personally, I deleted
Yeah.
it. I deleted it that day. Literally.
Wow.
Sharded it. So
Back to the memes, huh?
I can't even tell you how many clips I have of tractor cannon memes this week. I can't even tell you.
Oh,
Tragic
That's
Cannon's a good
awesome.
PvP gun.
it is excellent, actually. I get killed by it, and I'm like, wait, what happened?
Goodbye.
It makes people very angry. I will say
Yeah.
that.
Oh, Nim
Yeah.
knows all about that.
It's literally all I've used.
Tragican, yeah. I love the boop cannon. I think it's one of the best D2 guns that they've released. It's
It
great.
is. It's so unique.
Yeah.
There's
Yep.
really nothing else like it, and that's what I want to see more of when it comes to
Yeah.
some of the new exotics.
Yeah, and I hope that Bungie doesn't leave too heavily to the nostalgia, because I think that maybe with the disconnect from like their parent company, we'll see a little more creativity. I don't know. I'm hoping for it, but I love the idea that developers have creativity to create these like really amazing,
Yeah.
interesting new exotics. I think there's space for it. I think Tractor Cannon is an example of the fact that there is space for that
Yeah.
to happen.
I have a question
So-
for you guys. So we were talking about earlier on about the carrots on sticks and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
nostalgia and mystery of Destiny. Like the way Destiny is now, I think Bungie has to really compete and push viewership and players to the game. But can you imagine if they had kept the last word hush hush and January 29th just rolls around and you log into the tower and the Drifter has a quest for you?
Would be
And
cool.
without knowing, again, you would not know that this is a last word like quest because it's all Hyvie and stuff. And by the end, when you get to that boss mission, it's like just bam, the last word just like appears out of nowhere. Can you I'm not a big fan of Bungie teasing and revealing stuff like that as marketing. I get why they're doing it because again,
Mhm.
they have to pull in
Yeah.
people to play. But I mean, remember Whisper? Like,
Yeah.
Oh,
Whisper
was
was
great.
was amazing.
Example.
Like, it was just randomly popped up. Nobody knew it was a thing, and I don't know. I feel like putting in stuff like that, it just gets the community more brought
Yeah.
together. Than
Whisper is actually a phenomenal example of an amazing exotic, which, granted it was of a different, I still think of it as its own thing.
Yeah.
But the quest to get it, like the jumping, oh my god, that was so difficult and fun. That was a really exciting quest. I think Cade and foreshadowing Cade's death was kind of a bigger kind of example of how Bungie, you know, they're like giving it to you before you experience it.
Yeah.
And I think that Bungie does that a lot to create hype. And I don't know that I completely agree that that's the best way to do it, but it does work.
Yeah.
Bungie is fantastic when it comes to making trailers and building hype for the game. Like,
yes,
they have a great team for that. But again, even now, like when the last word launched, they had the trailer, and then at the end they show the thorns, and it's like,
yeah,
mystery. I don't know. Again, I don't know if it's that feeling of like in Destiny 1 where you go in and like you don't know what loot you're gonna get, you don't know what exotics are in the game.
No idea.
You have no idea what you're gonna get, and like getting that yellow drop just out of nowhere, like just feels amazing and feels cool. But now it's like you kind of know what to expect because Bungie's teasing it, you know? So,
yeah. Well, do you think that they're maybe doing that to get ahead of the data miners a little bit too?
I mean, it's a possibility, but they also have the ability to hide stuff in the database too.
I'll say this. Having to foreshadow Cade's death was appropriate to build hype for the DLC expansion.
Yeah.
Agreed.
The wildfire that would have spread had we earned the last word in secret would have been, in my opinion, more than enough hype to drag people back
for Joker's
from
Wild
nothingness versus previewing that it was dropping. I think there's different versions of marketing hype. I think previewing DLC, really good idea, and word of mouth firestorm content drop in the middle of nowhere out of nothing, big time fire. I think that would draw more people back. So to answer your question, Nem, I think I would have rather not known about it and had a quest.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah, me too. And again, it's like, because I mean, if you look back at times where just these random quests have dropped, Black Spindle, Whisper of the Worm, like there's just no advertisement behind that, and like that for those days, the community just like loses their shit and they're helping one another on Reddit, and raid secrets like blows up, and I don't know, I feel like, again, teasing story, cool, tease, you know, what quality of life changes you're going to bring to the game, or new Crucible modes or maps and stuff like that. But when it comes to the actual rewards, and some of the, you know, the exotics and stuff like that, I would really like if that was
the surprise.
Man, that last mission, had you gone into that last mission not knowing what you were going to get, but you go in and you start fighting the person with the you start fighting the guy with the thorn, with the prototype thorn, and you're given last word, holy shit. You would have, like, the bottom of your pants would have fallen off. It would be awesome.
Who's wearing pants?
Just the bottom of your pants, not the rest of them.
Just the bottom, because it, like, the shit that you just had was so massive, it just blew out the bottom.
I don't know if I'm okay with it now.
Oh, man.
No, but you're absolutely right. I mean, I can still remember the day that people started getting the Black Spindle back in.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
It was just a daily mission. It was just a daily heroic mission. And for whatever reason, one person out there decided to speed through it and noticed that a door was open. Yeah. That's how that started. They noticed the door was open. They went through it. Suddenly this timer pops up and Reddit lights on fire. And it was the same thing with the Whisper of the Worm. And I love that. I think those are some of the best moments of Destiny out there, which is that mystery of the unknown and what you can get when you just go out there. So yeah, I probably would have preferred if they didn't spoil the last word. You know, it was always a rumor. It's been rumored since like the start of Forsaken that the last word was going to be coming back. And once Thunderlord came out, I think that pretty much confirmed to a lot of people, yeah, eventually it's going to come. But you're right, man. It would have been great to like log in and be like, what's this? The draw? Okay. Go do all this nonsense. Think, some of these quest steps seem a little familiar. But then you get to the end and boom, last word, and you're dueling with a hive. That would have been awesome. It would have been amazing. And
I agree.
Especially
that would have been
mechanics. Fun. Especially with mechanics, because that
it
threw me off
hints at
entirely.
what it is. Yeah, the mechanics, and that's why that last piece is so amazing, because it basically feels like it's connected to the experience of using the gun, like feeling like a magical space cowboy, and that's why it's so fun. For me personally, I don't mind spoilers. Like, I've always been somebody who, like, I don't feel like knowing the content means that I'm not going to experience it and enjoy it. Yeah. But that's just a personal thing for me. And I can feel where a lot of people would want to be surprised, and the excitement of being surprised, or the excitement in the community. kind of coming together to figure something out. But personally, like I'm the kind of person where, I, read all of the Game of Thrones books, like not knowing what's going to happen in Game of Thrones for me doesn't change how much I enjoy watching the TV show.
Yeah.
So that's just a personal thing for me, but I totally see your perspective also. So
yeah, same. Like knowing being spoiled doesn't stop me from wanting to play. Like,
yeah,
wouldn't stop me at all.
Yeah, but I see the excitement around being like, oh my god. And I think Whisper was really fun.
Like, sorry, and think back to before Forsaken launch that they had a whole trailer dedicated to the exotic weapons, and in there's 2 weapons that I off the top of my head that you weren't able to get at launch, which were Thousand Voices, because that was a raid exotic.
Yep.
And Malfeasance, which was tied to the 3rd full curse week where the meatballs started spawning. So
meatballs.
Yeah, again, and it's that kind of stuff that's like, I get that you have to like get attention and build hype, but discovery and mystery is one of the key things that made me fall in love with Destiny in the first place.
Well, what if they didn't actually show the weapon? What if they hinted at it more, like made it more of an intimation? Because I love when people like look at the Bungie release trailers frame by frame and, ooh, did you see like X emblem on X thing? That might mean X thing is gonna happen. Like, what if they did something like that? Would that be better?
That would be. And I remember specifically they did that in. It was when they had laced up Lauren. In the studio, one of the you could see that one of the characters in the game was holding a sword. Or the sword was like flung across the back, and like that got people talking. It's like, wait a minute, was that a sword?
Yeah, that's cool. That's exciting. That gives people something to talk about with expressing what the weapon's going to be or what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
There's no saying that they won't do that too. And they've kind of dropped. They've already proven that they can drop one thing like that on us in Destiny 2. There's no saying that there wouldn't, and it would probably be in their best interest to find a way to do that. Maybe with a weapon we don't even know about or never heard of, as you move into these more content drips, as you call them, and as you move further into the unknown, it might be in their best interest to kind of sprinkle a couple of things on top of us that we discover by accident and turns into a firestorm, drawing more and more people to the game. We talked a lot about how Trials might be a card you can play against Division 2 and Anthem, and I said it myself, but when you think about the players who play those, I'm not quite convinced that your PvP tryhards are that audience.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense? Like your PvP Sherpas probably aren't the ones who are out there building 1 billion DPS characters in Division 2. And that same science is most likely going to apply to builds for Anthem from what little we've played.
Yep, I think so. I think bringing Trials back will shift a lot of the player base back to the game.
Yeah.
I think that will really, really help. And I think it's going to happen. I agree. Or I think that it's something that they have it ready. They're ready to push the button. They're just waiting for the right time.
Yeah.
So
I hope so. I really do.
Because I think we definitely need it. I know that Destiny wasn't intended to be PvP, but the gun feel is so amazing, and if PvP feels so amazing, like it turned into this, like Destiny 1, the competitive environment, that was so much fun to watch. I think that it's hard because I think in D2 they tried to really balance everything and make it more COD-like, and that's where they really went wrong, because the fun part of Destiny PvP is that it's unbalanced. And I think if you and I seriously, I think if you try to overbalance everything, then it becomes unfun. So
Destiny 2 year 1.
Exactly. Like not having supers, not having abilities, like all that stuff. Like I still reach for my grenades. I'm really bitter that they nerfed guns into the ground so much in Destiny 1 that they had to take away grenades recharge times, because as a PvE player, I'm always reaching for my grenades. And I know that, and I was guilty of doing like, stickies only trials in Destiny 1, so I'm part of the problem, okay? But seriously, I'm part of the problem. But at the same time, like I miss that. I miss the fact that they took that away. I know why they took away my toy, and I'm part of the problem, but I still I don't know. I think PvPs could be really great. Again,
the biggest issue with competitive Destiny right now isn't actually anything to do with weapons. It's having to do with people having an issue with one another and DDoSing and frying routers into hell.
Yeah, that's cool.
The biggest problem right now. There's been multiple tournaments that have been trying to go on.
Yep.
Oh, I heard about that.
An issue. They're burning up everybody's connection. They're literally taking people out of the game. That's honestly Bungie's inability to take swift action, or taking action, but inability to take swift action is been a problem, and it will continue to be. It's going to be a thing until possibly they make a decision to invest in dedicated servers.
They've got to change their network infrastructure. They have to.
And is that even going to be possible?
Millions of dollars off the top of my head,
like financially possible or plausible at this point.
Yeah, especially with that Daddy Activision.
Daddy,
that was a lot of money.
Yeah.
Here, I have $1.
Let's all give $1 for servers.
Let's go.
If they said that, I guarantee you they'd get it all like immediately.
People want it. They've been wanting it for ages, honestly. So and I would love to see a really amazing Destiny competitive scene. I mean, that'd be great.
And that's just a huge thing that's been stifling it for years. And unfortunately, it extends beyond just PvP. We all know what happened with the Scourge of the Past raid, with Goth and his team getting DDoSed by one random person who made their way into their fire team.
I remember that. Oh, gosh.
all those IPs and then boot.
Yeah.
To the point where some of them couldn't even get on their routers. They had to tether internet off their phones to play. And that's ridiculous.
Gosh. I think Cariona had to do that.
Yeah, for a AAA game like this, that's ridiculous. That's utterly ridiculous. Hopefully, I don't know if anything about that's going to change with D2. Hopefully, by the time D3 comes around, there's some sort of network infrastructure change, because that ain't good. That ain't it.
That ain't good.
I'm just like, you think do they really care in terms of the PvP environment where it's not really Bungie's selling point? But when it comes to knocking your top viewed broadcasters out of your top most important content, that's a problem. That's an all hands on deck. And it's but there's 17 other people that are broadcasting it. But no,
50,000 people saw that happen live on your game.
Yeah.
That ain't a good look. Yeah. It's not a good look.
It's not a good look on I think it should fall under more Blizzard for having that /join feature.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Oh yeah. Boy,
that's how that guy made it into their fire team.
They exploited it, right?
Yeah.
I think it just come out. Yeah. They didn't realize it was going to be used maliciously.
That person wasn't invited. They just saw the username and /joined and got right in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oof.
I mean, it's not a good look, but I think that looking towards, okay, this happened. What's the solution? As an organization, that's the best thing that they could possibly do. And talking about it and discussing it,
Yeah, definitely.
I think that the communication is something people have discussed with Bungie before is making sure that we have transparency and that they're responsive to players' needs and they're not doing like Daddy Bungie, I know best and I'm going to tell you what's going to happen, they're talking to people. And I think they've really made a conscious effort of changing sort of that image. But I think this is another topic that they could be transparent about.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I mean that goes for just Bungie in general, being transparent. And again, they always Bungie, I love you. I do. I really do. Let's chat for a sec. We always have that discussion. It's they need to talk more, and then developers will talk, and then they'll be on Twitter answering stuff. And then after 2 months, it's just dead silence again. They're just gone. And and I know I bring this up every single goddamn time we talk about communication, but there's a lot of other developers out there that have such a fantastic
community presence.
Community presence and communication with their community.
Warframe.
Again, DE is amazing when it comes to, they have 2 weekly streams where the community managers sit down and play with people and farm stuff with people.
Awesome. Yeah.
And then they always have the dev streams, for those that are not aware, where they will show you what they're working on.
Yep.
And even if it's in a build, it's a work in progress, and they always let you know, it's hey, we're still working on this. It's super buggy. They'll show you the bugs even too. And I don't know, it makes me want Bungie to take that same route and just kind of it's hey, this is what we're working on, but
put that Twitch studio to use. They built it, advertise it, play your game.
It's such a good idea. Yeah. All we want is
all we want is 2 tokens in a blue. I'd be a little hesitant to come back from that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So certain aspects of what they air have to be pre-recorded. Have to be. Now, as we sit in our current situation with the season that we're in and how things have kind of already come to fruition, this would be a good time to sit and stream and chill with everybody and talk with everybody in your
Sure.
game. But upon a release or showcasing brand new things might not be the best. I think you'd want to see pre-recorded content, because 2 tokens in a blue was
That was
Oh, that was
hilarious.
unfortunate.
it was tough. It was it had to be hard to sit on that couch and be excited
Poor
about it.
Deej.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know?
man.
I mean, I understand also why there is to have communication from developers to the fan base, because we are critical
Rabid.
and we know the game so well. I mean, I always look at all of like the amazing PvE players that solo everything or duo everything. They're basically like the most amazing QA testers out there. Like they find so many things that shouldn't happen in the game and then they make them happen.
Devious.
And do like Devious is an amazing example of that. But I think that's the thing, is that there it does feel like this contentious energy between developers and players, but we're not enemies. Like we both deeply care about the game. Like just find a mode to have that communication, because I think that there's so much like we can get from that dialogue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just, now that we're on the topic of communication, I think it's interesting because we are less than a month away from the next DLC drop, and we haven't heard anything. Kind of looks like they're going to do what they did with Black Armory, where it's like maybe a week or two before they release Joker's Wild, we get a live stream.
A day before we'll get the launch, the Road Ahead trailer.
Do you guys prefer that approach, or would you like to hear more about what exactly they're doing?
I would definitely like to know more about what they're doing, especially that there's people who aren't a fan of Gambit.
Yeah.
There's no way the entire DLC is geared towards it.
Yeah, exactly.
0% chance.
Really hope not.
Thematically, at least from what we know, a lot of the stuff that's coming in Season of the Drifter is tied to Gambit. We don't know if there's anything that's outside of that, but being Season of the Drifter, most likely a good portion of this stuff is going to be
Gambit related.
How do you, as a developer, as a publisher, how do you feel that you're going to put all your eggs in one game mode that the majority of your player base really doesn't partake in that much outside of having to for milestones, and the ones that do solo are most often punished, that there are triumphs for being an ineffective player.
Oh yeah, the sword.
For using a sniper rifle. There are triumphs for using a sword. These are ineffective ways of ad clearing. These are ineffective ways of being a teammate. How do you center a DLC content or a content drip around that and have it be successful?
Yeah.
How?
Oh, what was that? What was the quest line that made people play Gambit horribly? Was it like kill that, and then everyone started playing Gambit like idiots, like just focusing on killing invaders,
trying to get supers or something like that.
Do you remember that? Like I think that needs to be more thoughtful. But Gambit solo queue is the worst. I was queuing for my daily bounty, solo queuing on stream, and I looked around me and I was like, where are my teammates? So I go into the roster and I'm checking what's going on. I'm the only person left in that game.
Oof.
There's 4 most deposited. They almost have their prime evil, and I'm like, okay, I know there's a leaving penalty, but what do I do at this point?
Yeah.
Like, what do I do? I'm just gonna be miserable. Like, I just don't have any choice. But and that is not a unique solo queue experience for Gambit. It's not a unique experience, and I love this game, and I actually really love playing Gambit. I even queuing, but that was miserable, and there was nothing that I could do. By the time they threw 3 randos into my game, it was already over. Like there was
too far
like
gone.
they really severely nerfed the catch-up mechanics, which I understand why they did that, but it made that particular experience, really unpalatable. So
because I'm looking at the gameplay calendar right now, and what's tied with the free seasonal update, so this is what everybody gets, is Gambit private matches, new maps, what they called their spring event, obviously the power bump, triumphs and lore books, vanity rewards, which I'm assuming is going to be tied to a good chunk of it is going to be tied to Eververse, with they always tie like a new armor with Eververse. New rank rewards, and what's tied to the actual annual pass is Joker's Wild weapons and gear, an exotic quest, new Gambit experience, which, by the way, if you guys haven't heard the Crucible Radio show where they talked with Lars and Robbie, they kind of talk about what's coming up in Gambit, and if you listen closely and you pay attention to some of the wording that they use, it sounds like we're going to get another node in Gambit. Like there's going to be another like separate Gambit experience and
game mode.
Yeah, so there's going to be your it sounds like it's going to be your typical Gambit stuff and like something new. So I'm assuming that's what that new Gambit experience is.
So what is that going to look like?
We don't know.
Not a clue. They haven't said anything.
Yeah, we don't know. So
is it going to be like a competitive Gambit playlist, or is it going to be like a reconfigured mode?
I'm assuming it has to be a radical change, because if they're gonna tie like that to like a whole separate like Gambit node, based on what Lars said, maybe. But we also get the Zur bounties, whatever that's gonna be. And
yeah, they haven't said anything about that yet.
No, we don't know. We literally don't know anything outside of this and whatever the Joker's Wild weekly quest. Maybe. So
yeah, I don't know what that is.
Gambit quest.
Yeah, so that could be like so many different things. It could just be another, hey, play the new Gambit stuff and then get a powerful reward, or it could be like a proper like story quest that goes throughout the season. But yeah,
we have no idea.
A whole lot of Gambit, maybe.
And you know what? Part of the issue there is it's perfectly acceptable now to assume that it is just going to be all Gambit, because with Black Armory, we didn't get any new strikes. We didn't get any new PvP maps or anything like that, which have been usually a standard for Destiny content releases. We usually get a new strike or a new couple of PvP maps and whatnot. So it's not out of the ordinary for somebody to look at Joker's Wild and be like, okay, so this is going to be like Black Armory, where Black Armory was the only new game mode in that DLC. It's just going to be this new Gambit thing in this, plus a couple of quests and exotics. And I got to tell you, that ain't going to be enough to pull me off Division 2.
I don't think it's meant to. Yeah. I don't think it's meant to be pulling anybody. Yeah. If you're playing the game, Bungie's winning. I think. I think this is kind of going to be placeholder stuff, honestly, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because if there really is an entire season of just Gambit related things, I'm out. I'm telling you right now, I'm checking out. I play Gambit with my friends. It's fun for maybe a few days. I can't grind out weeks and weeks and weeks of Gambit content. I can't do it. There's no drive.
Yeah. Well, there is a power level increase too, associated with the season, and I think
plus 50.
Plus 50
your milestones, being a part of it.
Yeah, which is a grind, and so I think for a player like me, I want to keep up with the power level, so I'm going to at least put enough time in to make sure I get to 700.
Yeah.
On 2 characters. So when the raid comes out in June, I'm not behind on that. Like that at least minimum, that's something that I care about doing. Is that fun? I don't know. We'll see what we have to do to grind to get there. But I definitely will be doing that.
Yeah.
And
the plus 50 level increase is not going to take very long unless they make differences and changes to the milestones.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be adding more milestones to it.
Yeah. We know
we've got so many things to do right now.
Right.
We know that they're addressing the saving powerful bounties.
Yeah.
Right.
That just slows you down though.
Yeah.
For the first day.
That'll be
for like the first week.
Yeah. People will still be max level within like a week and a half or less.
As somebody who loves Gambit, like even with that power increase, it's like, and this is where I feel you on this part, Aura, because this is exactly the point that you made when Season of the Forge released. It's like running Last Wish still to get up to the new power level.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of like.
Last Wish is fine,
but
doing daily story missions,
just running the same content that they came out with Forsaken.
You want to be able to try it on the first day.
100%.
You don't want to feel like, oh, it's coming out I have to do the same content I've been doing for months.
Right back to the Dreaming City.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's not the case.
Yeah, they've talked about addressing that.
We talked about this before. The Volunder Forge at 600 was a challenge for probably 95% of the player base who weren't on comms. There's that 5% who were on comms, who were gods at PvE, no problem for them. 95% of people had an issue, had to go back and do heroic strikes and Dreaming City stuff to partake in the new content. And then once we got to the appropriate level to destroy it, the other forges stayed the same power level. So now we cakewalk through Volunder. Now Gofen and Izanami are also a breeze until we got to Bergusia, and then the end boss for Bergusia is the easiest boss out of all of them to defeat.
Yeah.
So like everything kind of felt a little bit like a jumbled
yeah.
mess when it came to the forges. But we want to play the content on day one. We don't have to go back and do old things the day that the content comes out. We want it to be challenging, but we don't want to get our ass kicked right off the gate for typical story things.
Yes.
Kick my ass in a Nightfall. You know, make the Nightfall level go to 700.
Yeah.
But I think that I think you touched on something really important, and scaling back the power requirements for the first forge made it less exciting for replayability. And I think that they did the same thing with Escalation Protocol, because people were complaining about it, and then they said, okay, well, let's scale back, and it made it less replayable. So I think it's a short-term fix to community complaints, but I think long-term for replayability and for fun, I think that, you know, but I also agree. I think it is fun to not be able to access the content the first day in some capacity, you know, in some capacity. I like the idea of having something you're trying to achieve, but to not be able to access any new content the first day, I think that's kind of where they fell short, and that's why they scaled it back. But my
question would be, is the Volunder Forge meant for replayability content?
I hope not.
If you're talking about 4 forges in a row, maybe the final one was the one where you build up to, and this is just throwing darts at a dartboard, but like maybe the first one wasn't really meant to be something that was replayed. It's kind of funny because I would go back and play the Last Word final mission over and over again. Just because how much fun it was to do the draw. More so than right now anyway, than I would feel like going back and doing another. I mean, I did 500 kills or whatever today, but that was the only way to make it interesting to go back and do it again. Plus the fact that I didn't have the Le Monarch yet. I got that today, but those are your carrots that you chase after your replayability factor. Not difficulty, but that loot that you might be missing.
Right.
Fair enough.
It's a weird issue to deal with, and I know me personally, I haven't gone back to any of the other forges. Once I unlocked Bergusia and found that you can do all of the frames there, that's where I go.
Done.
There's really no reason to. Yeah. I don't know if the forges were there.
For the frames that tell you that you can do the Bergusia for the weapon, they still didn't fix that in the text of the frame. Today, I went and did whatever to get the auto rifle frame because it told me to go back and do Volunder. So it still didn't.
It doesn't prompt you that you can go to Bergusia. Bergusia is just like
go there.
A hidden master forge.
The master key. Just go use that, and there's no reason. No reason to go do anything else. And I don't know, man. When it comes to Joker's Wild, like, it's hard to say anything because we don't know anything.
Yeah.
The only thing we know for sure is that there's a new Gambit mode and Thorns coming. So.
All right, TBL, it's Gambit only. Are you gonna pursue the content?
Probably, because I want to get to 700, but I'm not gonna. It's not gonna be something that like I wake up every day and do. There's other things.
Oh my god, I'm so excited for this. Yeah.
Especially with Division coming out.
Especially with Division coming out. That's my jam.
Did you guys play the beta? The Division 2 beta? Yeah. What did you guys think?
I enjoyed it.
Did you like it? I heard there was some it was a little buggy. I mean, obviously it's a beta, so like that's good.
I got locked in the first room for 15 minutes.
Okay, all right.
There's definitely some Ubisoft jank in there.
Some oopsie soft. Yes.
I shot a machine gun for like 2 seconds, and then for the next minute and a half, it was just in the background. It was wonderful.
All right, so some stuff to work out, but you guys enjoyed it.
It's good. It's
it's good.
They basically took everything they did with the first game. The first game in its state right now, Division 1 is in a fantastic state. Like, I would recommend that to anybody. On PC, it's $5 right now. Go buy it. It's they basically, I find it hilarious because the massive devs, they're actually some of the most communicative devs you'll find out there. They have a live stream every week where they talk about what they're working on in the game. They address community concerns and stuff like that. And a lot of their devs are Bungie fans. They're Destiny fans, and they've spoken openly about that when it comes to the development of the Division.
Yeah.
And for the Division 2, they've been pretty upfront about saying, for this game, we wanted to take everything we learned from TD1, and put that in the second game. And for our format, we basically looked at Bungie and Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 and said, don't do that. pretty explicitly gone on record and said that, and it's shined through. They've basically taken a lot of the concepts that they wound up bringing to the first game and started Division 2 off with it. I think it's a pretty darn good beta. It gives you.
And my understanding from Division 1 is that that's a game where they actually revived the game completely using downloadable content.
Yes.
Right? That initially there were issues and they really
bad at launch.
Beefed up the end game and made it an amazing game.
It was bad for a
lot
year.
Of problems. It was the first year. It had a lot of the same problems as Destiny 1. And they really revived that game by completely revamping the end game, adding in like basic PvP, adding in a survival game mode that to this day is probably one of the best survival games out there right now.
Yeah.
And then they put in a bunch of free DLC and then a few paid DLCs, and they really revived that game. Like it wound up ending in a fantastic form.
I think that's heartening, and I think it's heartening for Destiny. Also, it's heartening to see that can happen with downloadable content. So, if that happened for the Division, it could happen for Destiny too. It could happen for any game that we love. You know.
Yeah, they've already Bungie already made the big turnaround with Forsaken. I think Forsaken.
I think so too.
Fantastic. It's been an amazing.
They turned a corner. I think that the gunplay is in a really good place. I think that if they make snipers a little bit more viable, my husband's like, make sure you talk about Sniper Flinch. Make sure you go on the podcast, talk about Sniper Flinch. Sorry, I'm playing it. You know, like, but I think they fix a couple things. But Forsaken was great. They did a great job responding to community issues. So, yeah.
The thing about the Division 2 for me, and the thing that really drove me away from Division in Division 1 was bullet spongy ads. Guys in a hoodie, tanking an entire light machine gun, clipping a grenade, and he still chased me with a baseball bat. They fixed it in this beta.
Yeah.
If I'm shooting at somebody, it's taking a handful of bullets to put them down. When I'm fighting a boss, they look like they are wearing crazy amounts of armor that you're knocking off of them as they're taking damage.
Yeah.
So you'll see part of their arm, armor come off. So that to me was huge, and part of the reason why I really, really enjoyed the Division 2 beta. The biggest thing for me is movement is still kind of clunky. It kind of always has been. But like when you make it 360, it's like woo, like it's a big looping circle versus if you turn around in Destiny, it's like whoop. If you turn around in the Division, it's this like you're driving a bus. Like it.
Excuse me, guys. I can't stop. I have to keep this at 60 miles an hour.
Yeah.
We drop underneath, we die. I think that bothered a lot of people with the first game because they were expecting a third-person shooter, not an RPG. And Division is an RPG first and a shooter second. Kind of the opposite of Destiny, where Destiny is a shooter first and an RPG second.
Yep.
And they definitely toned that down. No more hoodie kids named Alex tanking your light machine gun shots. And
Alex, they got Alex!
And now they're popping a pill that makes them out of their mind when they chase you. So that even ties into the fact they can tank more damage already because you see that little pill emblem and all of a sudden they're like, I don't know what that pill is.
I'll take that pill.
I'm against drugs, but whatever they're on, it apparently makes them stronger and crazy. So
let's see what happens.
Good though. I enjoyed that.
I'm excited.
Cool. That's great.
Yeah.
All right. Should we talk a little bit about some of the news we've got, Dan?
Yeah. The only thing that I can really think of is Titan Skating going bye-bye on PC.
Is it fully going bye-bye? Or are they changing?
They're changing the way Lift works. Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, it said that like you still might be able to Titan Skate, just not the way that you had previously.
They say that.
Normally, just
which is not at all
jumps properly,
right?
But
Titan skaters weren't really that. The first time I fought them in that engagement, it was an issue, and every time thereafter, they were pretty predictable in their movement.
Yeah.
But I don't play high level comp, and I don't use one-eyed mask. Apparently, combining Titan skating with a one-eyed mask at 5,000, 4,000 glory and higher became quite a challenge for everybody. So
when you can close a gap instantly and embody people with that buff from one-eyed mask, it's oof. Thankfully there was only really a thing on PC, so console players, you aren't going to experience any change whatsoever.
Just PC.
Lift is the
I don't know, it doesn't bother me. Titan skating never really has bothered me. I almost, maybe unpopular opinion, say that like don't take it away from PC, just add it into console and make it even. I don't know, I think part of that is I have this maybe like a little bit of, concern that Bungie's going to kind of go back to the old days of nerfing everything that's powerful or fun, And I think so for me, when they say, oh, we're taking something out or we're reducing something's efficacy, even if this was something that was unintentional, I just remember getting in D1 being really fun and a really great accidental part of the game. So I don't know. I would say, I think what I'm suggesting isn't technically possible because of the way consoles work and the way the micro skating works. But I think just overall, my sentiment is don't take things away, add more fun, powerful things to play with.
Right.
Bring us Warlock skating back.
Well,
Warlock
I mean,
surf.
Give us Warlock skating and make hunters do something.
Blink. Give us Blink. Give us back Blink. Give it back.
I don't.
no, you don't deserve it.
Oh, no.
You guys have
Give it
used
back!
No, you
Give it back!
in year 1 of
No.
D1.
The
want it
thing
back!
with the Titan skating thing though is that like it's you'll still be able to do it, but it's the macro Titan skating that they're adjusting because like that's silly. Like I've gone up against
Sonic the Hedgehog.
I had one Crucible match where it was a team of 5, all Titans, all one-eyed mask, all Titan skating. Like it was ridiculous. Like I couldn't do anything because it was just it was so many. I should have recorded it.
Guess I'll die.
Absurd. It was so silly. But yeah, like that macro speed is just it's silly. It's
the number of times they can ping it, right? Is that what they're changing? Is it like they're going to be able to sort of like activate it less frequently? So when they're creating the macro, it's okay. Anyway, I don't think it's going to affect too many things, but it's interesting that they are addressing that.
Yeah, it was already a small. I mean, like we said, this is only on PC, which is a small subset of the population.
Sure, and not everyone uses macros either, so it's
an even smaller subset. So it's not going to affect most people.
Mm-hmm.
Crimson Days is coming. Is everybody excited about that?
because I'll have Anthem.
Okay.
You heard it.
That's if you can beat the worst boss it has, the loading screen.
95%.
Look, man, I come from Forever 29. I think I'll be okay.
Oh my gosh.
So do I, to be honest with you.
I'm excited.
It's starting.
Yeah, I'm excited about the emote. That's the tiny bow, and that's pretty much it.
That's cute. Are they gonna bring back the sparrow that has like the petals coming out of its butt? Because my husband has that, and I'm so jealous. At Crimson Days last year, that was definitely a content lull, and I was not playing the game at that point. So I don't have any Crimson Days stuff from last year. I do have to say, when they had Crimson Days in D1, because of SBMM, the 2-person mode was really unpleasant for me because I'm terrible at PvP. And when I play with anybody who's remotely better than me, completely sweaty and unfun experience. So I don't know. We'll see how the doubles are, because I would love to play with my husband, but it was not a casual experience. So I think for me, my enjoyment of Crimson Doubles is going to be directly proportional to the amount of SBMM that's in that mode.
Right.
So I don't mind getting my ass kicked, but getting my ass kicked every single time, not so great. So.
Well, thankfully, I mean, everything from Crimson Days last year is going to be available again this year. So if you missed out on any of that, the ornaments, the shaders, all that kind of stuff.
That's cool. Yeah.
All of that will be available, and it's going to be the same game mode as last time around, which is something like stay next to your teammate to get faster cooldowns.
That buff, yeah.
Yeah, if you move too far apart, then like you show up on everybody's radar and on their HUD. So hold hands.
Was it called Total Eclipse of the Heart? I kid. It was a bad joke. Anyways.
Well, are we singing now? Is this like a karaoke podcast?
Start it out. I think it's cool. I'm probably not gonna take too much time to get in it. I played it last year, got most of the stuff. I don't really. Outside of, I think there's a new legendary bow that drops with it, but
yeah, and I think that bow is aimed like the horror story for the people who.
Oh man, if it's
don't
like
have a
complete a billion duos matches, I'm out.
You do.
6 billion and one, actually.
That horror story was like,
it was
God knows how many levels of. Whew.
That was a grind.
I never even got it. I didn't even get it.
I didn't get it either.
I just.
You're not missing out on much.
Yeah,
it was aggressively
it's no duty bound.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a light level. It was a light level increase, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and a very good catch-up mechanic for anybody who's far behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the same thing for the bow. I think it drops at 650. So.
Go get it if you're like 620 right now.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, it's going to be available to people who don't own Forsaken, which I think that makes it the only bow in the game that is available for people who don't own Forsaken. Because they mentioned that in the TWAB, that the vow is going to be available for anybody, whether you own that DLC or not. So that's neat. There you go.
Yeah.
Still not going to play it though. Yeah, no reason to. No real reason.
Yeah.
Right.
Outside of that, I think that's pretty much it for the news this week.
Yeah,
if we want to jump
true.
into questions.
Yeah.
I think it's time for some viewer questions and whatnot.
Moon had one specifically for Tiddly, which I would like to add an addendum to at the end. So how do you stay so high energy and entertaining for your streams? That's part 1. And 2, can you explain the Adopt a Troll program?
Yes and yes. So high energy is very simple. Caffeine and lots of caffeine. Yeah, very easy. Simple formula. Any streamer can apply it to the particular broadcast. The Adopt a Troll program, it's basically my way of managing any kind of chat issues. What I found, especially as a female caster, is when somebody comes into your chat and starts to try to make comments and troll, like whether it's on your appearance or your gameplay or whatever, people in chat feel like they need to white knight or defend you. And I'm not just saying men, like women too. Like people in chat, they care about your community, they care about you, they want to defend you. But unfortunately, when that happens, it turns the chat into just that. And everyone is distracted by it, right? So it like basically pulls everyone's attention away from the gameplay, the conversation, whatever's happening in the stream. So the Adopt a Troll program, essentially, somebody makes a comment, show me your X, Y, or Z. I read it out, I make fun of them, and then I have chat vote whether or not to adopt them into our pet troll program if they're creative, interesting, funny, and contribute something to the stream, or whether we should permanently ban them. So that does one of two things. It first of all, it allows the community to participate in the management. So instead of just letting them kind of figure it out on their own, I'm like, okay, binary choice, participate, help me out here. You're allowed to control this, like the way this community is run. So let me know if you want to keep this person. It creates a humorous moment where we can kind of laugh at the situation. And then when we give that attention, it also allows us to move on right after. So instead of kind of a distraction, it becomes a moment of humor, and then we can just move on to the next thing that we're talking about smoothly. So for me, it works really well for my community. I have a very low tolerance for trolling in my stream. I think that one of the best things I learned as a caster is even if you have a really small chat, a really small community, it doesn't matter. Banning is the best possible thing you can do in your community to protect your community and make your chat good. You know, like I think it only takes one person who's being an idiot to ruin it for everybody else, and even the people who are lurking and reading the chat. So for me, that's pretty much what the motivation is behind the whole thing.
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
I think that's brilliant because you both weaponized and like mobilized white knighting in the most efficient way possible.
I make it funny too. Like we laugh about it. Yeah,
and I love that because you address it, you bring it up, and you move everybody past it so that there's not a bunch of people sitting
and
there
they don't feel like they have to continue talking about it because exactly.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Genius. I love it. That's beautiful.
Thanks.
All right. Trash Infernal asks, do you ever think the No Land Beyond will ever come back?
I hope not. Screw you, Trash, for asking.
At the
It had a place. It had a place.
At the rate we're going, it wouldn't surprise me at all to see it come back, like if not this season, the next season or something.
I hated that weapon. Nothing makes me more mad than getting a shot on somebody, clearly getting a shot on somebody first, and having them manage to get that headshot.
Bloop.
Is very, 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 very maddening, because the one thing that is a weapon against snipers is landing that first shot. I go back to Halo. When you played Halo and you were sniping, you got knocked out of your scope.
Yeah.
You had to. The only way you got your snipe off is if somehow that luck of that flinch knocked you into that headshot, or you had to get the shot first. The No Land Beyond was maddening for that particular reason, and I'm not sure anything else made me that upset in a video game than that damn No Land Beyond.
All right, so I had to step away for a second. What question are we talking about?
Nothing.
No Land Beyond.
No Land Beyond coming back.
Oh,
I wouldn't be surprised if it did.
Yeah,
I really wouldn't be. With the rate they're going.
Go to the EDZ, load into the EDZ, go to Devrim, give him some tea, and then take his gun.
yeah. Just sit next to
your
it.
strategy is to rob Devrim.
Yes.
Right.
He's the nicest NPC I've ever met.
He's so wonderful. I want him to have a storyline.
Things are crazy out in the wild, Aura.
That kill or be killed, right?
I feel like that's a dig at his like armor set too, because it's called like the Wildlands or Wild Woods, Woodsy something or other.
Yeah, man.
Carolina Gamer 99 asks, "What's the best memory you guys have within Destiny?"
Solo
Overall, or
Shadowthrone.
1 or 2?
Overall, it looks like.
Solo
Tiddly?
Shadowthrone.
Solo
Hands down.
Shadowthrone. That's good. That's good.
Hands
Good
down.
one. Tiddly, what about you?
Both games or Destiny 2?
Overall, just overall experience.
Well, meeting my husband, of course.
Well, clearly, you have to say that
Clearly.
because he's going to listen to this podcast.
He's gonna watch it. He watches it when he's showering, so it's. No, but I think you guys are describing all of these like big moments. I think for me, I really enjoy kind of some of the quiet moments, like being in the tower with friends and having a dance off, or finding somebody with a really silly name. Like I love those kind of like quiet, like fun moments too. You know, I feel you on the big ones too, like all the accomplishment moments, but I like some of the quiet, goofy moments too.
Yeah. I don't know.
What about you, Nim?
I would have to say the Dark Below era, because I met a lot of good friends in that time. I probably wouldn't be doing what I do if it wasn't for the Dark Below era. And I know some of you guys know the story, but I have a good friend, Quasar, and at the time I was admin of our clan hero unit, which got really, really big. We had multiple alliances based on different time zones, and if you were in the UK or whatever, we were huge. And Quasar knew that I liked streaming, and I used to stream just directly from the PlayStation. And I used to take people through Crota's End and stream it, and I was one of the dedicated sword bearers for the clan. And one day he messages me over on Bungie.net. He's like, "Hey, Nem, I know you like to stream and stuff like that, and I have this computer that's just sitting here collecting dust. I'm not using it. Like, do you want it?" And like my first like thought was like, I don't have any money right now to be able to buy that off from you, man. Like, I appreciate the offer, but like I can't afford it. And he was like, I never said anything about money, dude. Like, if you want it, it's yours. And I was like, I'm horrible at accepting gifts and stuff like that. Like, I'm the literal worst. But I was like, oh my god, that would be amazing, because at the time I hadn't owned a computer for like 6 years. The last computer I had was like a Frankenstein of a PC that I managed to salvage together. And when he shipped it from the East Coast. He shipped it not only with the tower, which is what I thought, but he shipped it with a monitor and a mouse and keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
And from there I was able to like start properly streaming and recording, and literally how I ended up here. So like meeting those group of people back then is probably like the best memory that I have in Destiny overall.
That's awesome.
It's amazing.
Friend game, stand game.
Heck yeah.
Right in the end game.
Man, for me, it's like one of two things. It is either helping my buddy Drafty's son Steve get past his first Leviathan. It took us 6 hours to do it, but it was awesome. When we finally got through it, there's a clip in my chat that is just exclamation Steve. If anybody wants to see a bit of of that raid, that or the time that Nim, Moon, Mayday, Bibble, and myself. Who was our sixth?
I can't remember.
I
know
remember
exactly where you're gonna go into, but I can't remember who the sixth was.
It's like I had the relic and I tried smashing, and immediately Supermaned off the map. And like for me, that's the most memorable thing I'll ever do.
Oh no!
It's just that feeling of just like, we were right there. Why?
Oh
It
no!
was so bad.
You're a legend. If that's only ever happened once, man. Because I did that once a week.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Or
Any
don't
given
talk about the other
Tuesday.
times.
Oh, well
That is
then.
the one. The one and only.
Yeah.
I'd say for me, it's kind of hard because it's Destiny's been out for half a decade now, and then
Yeah.
there's been so much going on. But I'd take it back to year one of D1. I'd say my favorite memory was clearing the trifecta of solo clears in year one of D1. Atheon, Crota, and Skolas beating all of those solo.
That's
was
nuts.
probably
That's
that
awesome.
was probably some of the craziest achievements I was able to get. I can remember to this day my clear of Crota back in year one, and all the things that I had to do to make sure that shield stayed down exactly as long as I needed it to. It just felt like such an achievement.
Did you go Hunter Invis?
No, I was Warlock actually. I was
Warlock?
I
What?
had to use and Viking Funeral to keep that burn
You
going.
went hard mode on that.
Yeah, I didn't realize what I was doing to myself.
I
But yeah, clearing Crota, Atheon, and Skolas solo is probably one of my favorite memories. Felt pretty good when I got that done after
Thank you
hours.
for picking this
of
solo
singing.
activity because I felt like a jerk when everybody else shared their story up until just now. Thank you. Thanks for sticking
I
with
got
me
you,
on
man.
that one. Thanks, man. Thank
I
you.
got you, dog.
Let's see here. Arbiter Priest 56 asks, what goes better with buffalo wings, carrots or celery?
I hate celery.
Ranch.
Neither.
Well, I'm
Has-
vegetarian, so I would
Yeah.
just eat the celery.
As long as the carrots have meaningful things behind them, I'm down to eat the carrots. It's fine.
Carrots are good. Yeah,
Carrots
I
are
like
good. Carrots are good. Drafty, if Bungie found a way to put your D1 vault in your D2 vault, what is the first gun you'd pull out?
Ias Luna.
Oh,
You know, the Aaron Till I have is so nasty. I don't think I would take a single fusion from D1.
Just insta
I
delete your
don't know.
D1 vault.
I don't need this.
I would have said like 3 weeks ago. Probably would have said Stellar Vestige, but because that was in D1, I don't know. I don't know what I would take out of the D1 vault at this point.
oh man.
There's no exotic that
Maybe the
resonated with
JLo, the JLo Supercell, because it was such a fun weapon to use.
you? Okay, that's fair.
I had a
Damn.
Godroll Party Crasher, but I
Ooh.
would probably pull Fatebringer just because I loved that gun. I don't know what percentage of time I have that equipped, but it was a lot.
Yeah.
Fatebringer
Oh,
for
boy.
me.
Zombie apocalypse.
Nem's gonna say Necrochasm. I'll answer.
Of course.
for him.
No, no,
Of
no.
course. Of course.
What?
It would
Yeah, no, 100%.
Never going to-
Necrochasm was my baby in D1.
Why?
That gun literally
I'm
never
judging
left my
you
phone.
so hard right now.
Oh, do it.
Tiddly, this has been an ongoing thing with Nim.
For
That's
years.
good for me.
Nim's in his high phase right now.
It's just, he'll grow out of it.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
he'll-
mean, just.
Dan, you want to fight about it?
You
Yeah,
want a
1v1
1v1 after
Necrochasm.
stream?
1v1, bro. My Necrochasm versus you.
Let's go.
Oh.
Load up D2, D1 right now. I'm
Oh.
gonna change this stream.
Let's go. We have a couple more questions. Acer of 3512 asks, I've got a question. I had a multiple month hiatus from D2 and lost out on all those months of grinding to 600, then 650 light level. I'm slowly getting there, but raids are always a great place to get great content. So I just want to know which guns to actively strive to get raid ready. I've never been in a raid. What are some of the guns that you guys take into raids that you have the most success with?
Go get Whisper of the Worm
Whisper.
right now.
Whisper. Yep.
Absolutely, Whisper of the Worm.
Yep.
Yeah. You can get it any day now.
I think Heavy's easy. Whisper or Thunderlord. I really don't think you need any other exotic Heavy.
Yep.
In your arsenal.
Not even
That's
Sleeper anymore.
World Line 0.
No.
Stop it. Stop it.
Don't listen to him.
Don't listen to that, man. Ignore that. Delete that order.
I actually got that catalyst to drop, and I just laughed at it for a second because it's not doing
You know what the catalyst is, dude? It's bonkers how to get it.
Yeah, like
it's,
you
it's
have
ridiculous.
the landing kill on one of the EP bosses, or
No, you have
all
to
of the
damage
EP bosses?
every escalation protocol boss with it.
Yeah, that's not happening, dude. Ironically enough,
no
I got
way.
it. I got it in the Whisper because I was completing my Prometheus Lens and my Cold Heart catalyst for those, and then the little thing dropped, and I was just like, okay,
I'll use this.
literally never.
Whisper, Thunderlord, Ikelos Shotgun.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can go into a raid without it.
Yeah.
And then everything else.
Midnight Coup?
Midnight
Maybe,
Coup's a good one.
If hand cannons are your thing, hit Midnight
Yeah,
Coup.
making coup.
I like
Yeah.
Le Monarch. I've just been taking it into different things and enjoying
Well,
it.
they're
so.
trying to get the 600 to 650. Le Monarch is off the table.
Well, then I'm sorry.
So shut up.
You should just get Le Monarch. You should just get it.
Yeah.
for
I
like
think
a
yeah,
dollar.
I think the must-have generally Whisper, Thunderlord. Thunderlord's just a random drop now, right? Because the quest
It
is
is.
gone.
It's an exotic engram drop. Yeah.
So
yeah.
Whisper, I would say, because you can
Whisper
go get
for
that
sure. You
right
can get
now.
that.
That's a quest that's
Yeah.
available every day.
Ikelos
Um,
Shoddy. Any
Then your choice
Yeah.
of primaries. There's a lot of different primaries. You
So
can
if
use.
you've never done a raid at all, Midnight Coup's off the table as well.
Yeah.
What primary weapon are you? What kinetic weapon are you going to run? That's
You
a great
can do-
question.
I mean, you
Anything.
can
Like
really.
no raid at all.
yeah, Nightshade.
raid at all.
You can bring a Nightshade. Like any kinetic
I'd say a
weapon, you're gonna be
pulse.
fine. Yeah.
I'd say pulses are good because they're medium range, especially if you're raiding.
Yeah.
Like you're probably not going to want to go up as
Bygones?
shoddy as you're pull something that's a pulse that has like good stability, good range. Boom, you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bygones would be good.
Go figure.
Yeah.
Go figure.
And shoot, even for the Ikelos right now, that's pretty easy to get.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Escalation
exactly.
protocol is pretty quick and fun these days. With
This
some of
week
the,
is all
left.
3.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
If you're grinding for
Come on,
yeah.
Mhm.
Head to Mars. There's people there right now trying to finish their last word quest. So just go get it done.
Last question of the evening. WX Forecaster. I have a question. How would any of y'all feel about there being a method to do most or almost all quests without ever having to touch PvP? I think PvP shouldn't be required for people who do not want to participate, but yet almost everything requires going into PvP.
Did the what's the Ace of Spades require PvP?
Yes, it required, I think, PvP and Gambit.
I know the Chaperone did.
I think Ace of Spades did too, didn't it? I thought it
I'm
required
trying
you
to
to get like
remember.
guardian kills or
I know it
something
was
with hand
Gambit
cannons.
heavy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Ace of Spades had that one part where you had to get Gambit kills with hand cannons.
Yeah.
Unlike
Yeah, but then that was too hard for people, so they made it.
Changed it.
Just get kills with hand cannons.
I don't know. Like,
so they changed it.
I think
Yeah.
personally, I think it's fine to do like some light PvP stuff in there. Like I don't mind having to dip my toe into PvP occasionally. It's just if it's tied to time gated stuff, or if it's tied to something that
Tied to
has nothing to
performance.
do
What
with the
if it was
weapon.
Games played instead of kills, or
Yeah.
if it was kills with no death penalty
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, if it was just a grind rather than a skill related
Mhm.
engagement. I think that you would also find that there's PvP players who only want to play PvP and are salty you have to go into PvE to
Yeah.
access some of the most amazing weapons in the game. So I think that people on both sides feel that a little bit.
Yeah,
There's-
I think. Good.
You know?
I was going to say there's been discussion of maybe having two different avenues to the same end goal. Maybe the
Yeah.
last word, in order to acquire it, you didn't have to go through all PvP stuff, but you had to do a billion other things, looting lost sectors and doing heroic strikes to the point of
Oh,
borderline madness to
nauseam.
acquire.
Yeah.
There's the quick but probably harder way to do it versus the longer drawn out.
Right.
This is going to make me probably never want to play this game again.
Yeah.
Too.
If you made that like a choose your own adventure type thing and have it be a path
like
that you have to take entirely and not like you can't go back and get the other version of it. You can only get like this one role.
Yeah, exactly. Like maybe the curated role, like quest line or whatever, and then you get random rolls from the other way to do it or something like that. You know, and that way you can choose what you're playing to get the gun, and you know which way you want to do it, and then people can't complain anymore.
Yeah,
they'll still complain. They still gonna complain.
Well, yeah.
I think there is merit to that. You know, I think people would enjoy if there were multiple avenues to getting some of these weapons. Me personally, I don't have a problem when there's exotics that exclusively require a game mode to be played. Because I look at the last word, that's not a PvE weapon under any circumstances. It's a straight PvP gun, and I don't have a problem with PvP in that regard. And I think Tiddly, you bring up a hilarious mention there with you know, there's some guns in PvE that people who are PvP players don't want to do. I saw
they don't want to do raids to grind for like 1K. You know, they're not
reasons.
That was a post that was on the Destiny game subreddit that week as people were complaining about last word. They're like, I can't believe I have to go into this stupid game mode to get this stupid exotic. And then when you go into the post, why do I have to run Last Wish to get 1,000 voices?
Exactly.
It's the same thing. It's the
people
same thing,
feel the same way.
Yeah.
But I think that it is good that there are these kind of, I think that one thing that would be great to come back again would be, kind of like when you finish Crota the first time and you put on that god-awful shader, Glow Who, right? And you're going
oh my god, you just broke Nim's heart.
What? That actually kind of hurt me too. I want to be a nightlight. You saying I'm an ugly nightlight?
Right, okay, but when I first got that ugly shader, I was so proud. I went into the tower, I equipped it on all of my gear, I was walking around, I was looking all nice. I like that there's loot that's exciting, cosmetic loot or gun loot that's exciting, that's attached to a particular mode that demonstrates what you're amazing at.
Yeah.
I love that because you want to kind of have that swag, right? You want to go to the tower and show off, I'm fantastic at X, So I don't have a problem with it either, is what I'm trying to say, is having things locked into different modes to be able to get them.
Not everybody has to have everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't want to grind out Malfi.
Same.
So
I don't
I'm
have
not
it.
playing Gambit, and it sucks that I'm not going to have my collections, but I just don't enjoy the content enough to put myself through it. Like, one thing that's becoming blatantly apparent through the directory is what people really enjoy doing, what people really don't enjoy doing. It is written all over their faces while they're playing. It is everywhere. And people are still continuing to force themselves into situations that they don't enjoy. And why are we playing these video games? I can go to X, Y, and Z to do something I don't want to do because I have to do it. You do not have to play Crucible if you don't like it. There is nothing that is forcing you to do it.
Nope.
And if you want the last word, you have to weigh whether or not you want the last word more like enough to put yourself through something like that. If the answer is no, there's a million other things to go chase.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's definitely rough because I can understand that approach of people who play, the 99% of Destiny that is PvE, that don't want to jump into PvP and deal with that sort of thing. But
yeah, it makes it hard for collectors, I think.
Yeah,
particularly collectors.
I'm one of them.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, people who want to get every single armor piece, exotic armor piece, every single exotic weapon.
Yeah,
that's me.
Yeah.
But they're in games like this, there's going to be stuff that's exclusive to certain game modes. You can't get
good.
Well, I was going to say you can't get Trials gear unless you play Trials, but D2 year 1. But you can't get the raid gear unless you go do the raid, and I think it's okay for stuff like that. I think it's okay for there to be exclusive rewards that require exclusively playing certain game modes. And I know it's rough for some people, but believe in yourself, man. You can do it. The last word step is frustrating, but you can do it. Believe me.
It's for sure. If I can do it, you can do it.
It's not impossible.
Not hard. Just play like me.
Just hide.
Hide
and hug your teammates and just get assists. Assists count for full points.
Exactly.
It's understandable though, and I think with Joker's Wild getting ready to come out and then Thorn, let's just get it out now. It's probably going to require Gambit. It's probably going to require a lot of Gambit. And if I want Thorn, I'm just going to go through it. I'm just going to go through and get it. That's just what I'll have to do. I'll play. It's probably going to be a Gambit-centered weapon, so I'll do it.
Oh, I love Thorn.
Me too.
Oh, I can't wait for it to come back. I'm hoping that it's like Thorn when Thorn was good, where you have like 2-tap Thorn with like DOT, like you're like watching them die behind the wall. Like I can't wait.
I wish.
I don't think they're gonna bring it back as a 2-tap. What I was talking to the community with before was, what if it was a 3-tap for a kill and then it gave you a charge that allowed you to 2-tap thereafter?
Ooh.
What if like being rewarding skill allowed it to reward damage? A lot of people
kind of like a rampage type thing. Yeah.
Anything, like rewards you for that kill.
So like increased damage after a kill, kind of.
Like increase
like
the
Luna, like Magnificent Howl. That's what that does. You get 3 taps with Luna, and then the next 2 taps are it's a kill.
That would be what I would think. But then brought up a point. We don't even know if it's going to be a hand cannon. All we saw were the projectiles.
Yeah.
We didn't see the actual gun that fired it.
Yeah.
And
Thorn shotgun.
Thorn shotgun, yes.
The meta of Thorn shotgun was 6 months of blink shotgun Thorn. 6 months. And the pulse rifle meta that came after it, which was Neurowind's Mercy, which was the Hawksaw, it was 3 weeks. And Bungie was like, whoa.
Hopscotch Pilgrim for a week.
This has to stop.
Yep.
Oh no, pulse rifles. I used my Spider Rain.
It was 3 weeks to the day that they decided they didn't want a pulse rifle meta, which blew my mind, because we suffered for 6 months of no real option than blink shotgun. So my main concern moving in is that, are we going to get a 3-week meta again based off whatever this gun, whatever impact the Thorn has? Or are we going to get 6 months of goddamn Thorn shotgun?
Ha! I hope we do.
We will have come full circle.
I don't know if I can handle another 6 months of that, man.
Yeah.
But I feel like even if it did come back, at least in PC, there's a lot of competition with it. Like Ace of Spades is a fantastic
it really is.
Like the range on that is ridiculous.
It's nuts,
yeah.
One of the few hand cannons that really challenges the 150s right now.
And like if you have God Roll blast furnaces or bygones, pulse rifles are solid. Chaperone is nutty, and that's a primary.
Yeah.
There's a lot to contend with Last Word, and there's plenty of health recovery items as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
or introduce some kind of armor perk that counters Thorn, and have it actually work.
We had one. They took it away.
Ram. They took it from us.
That and the artifact. Remember, the reduces DOT.
Reduces burn. They keep taking our defenses away.
Yeah. Because I don't mind if something is like really, really like like a Thorn, like it's really high damage or has like some kind of effect. As long as you can have something that you can strive to get that counters it.
Yeah.
Because talk about something that would be fun to grind for, right? You're like, oh, I'm so salty about these Thorn players. I gotta go grind for.
Can
make
you
it
imagine?
Better,
So based on Thorn's lore, Thorn was created to drain Guardians' light. Can you imagine a Thorn that whenever you, for example, you crit somebody multiple times, you chip away at their like super bar or their grenades and melee?
Ooh,
just little by little, it starts burning it off because
what have you done?
Takes away their abilities at the same time, reduces cooldown.
Yeah.
Pulls away their super.
Because technically speaking, it's draining your life if you're getting hurt by it. If you're getting shot by your Thorn.
Maybe only on precision shots. Like maybe only precision shot thing.
Yeah.
I love that conceptually because it's kind of like a suppressive, aspect to Thorn, which actually makes sense with the lore. I think that's a really interesting idea. I hope it doesn't happen because it sounds super unfun.
There would need to be some stringent rules here. Either you got to land a certain number of shots on somebody, which means you're hitting all body shots and not getting a kill anyway, or I don't know. But
that's a great idea, dude.
Conceptually, it's a great idea. Yeah. I mean, maybe not necessarily with Thorn, but I love some kind of like ability or some kind of aspect of a super that does that. I mean, I know that you can tether. There are some suppressive type supers and abilities, or like the Hunter smoke nades, right? Like there are some things that kind of do that.
Tether and suppression grenade on a Titan and tractor cannon. That's it.
That's
the things that'll knock you out of a super.
But can you imagine if you added that to a weapon? That'd be crazy. Yeah.
So a primary weapon at that.
Yeah.
What if the catalyst knocked you? Well, I can't imagine knocking out of a super, but it shortens the duration of your super if you're a roaming super too.
Yeah, or just
poison effect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nim, I don't like it. I don't like what you're doing here, man. You need to chill.
Don't give anyone any ideas.
Nim, keep giving him ideas. It's gold, my friend. Gold.
I'm gonna have to tag Mr. Hamrick and Greg. It's like, hey, think about this for a second.
Building suppression effect takes people out of supers if you land, I don't know, 4 or 5 shots. Oof.
Given be an entire team shooting supers, there would be no supers.
Yeah.
What are these supers
Just
you speak
completely
of?
shut down all super gameplay in comp.
Well, if it were in Mayhem, it would make a lot of sense.
Just Dan's laugh alone makes you never want to have that gun be a thing ever.
Oh no, I want this now. Stat.
Oh my god.
You did good, Nim. You living up to that dredging title, I see.
Dragons. Yes.
Ugh.
Well, all right, was that the last question you had, Dan?
That was the last question.
Well, all right, I do believe that means we have made it to the end of episode 189 of the Planet Destiny podcast. This has been a really fun one. Tiddly, thanks so much for joining us tonight. You've been great.
Thank you so much for having me. It was really fun.
Secretly, you have all the right opinions, so like it was great having you here, so I could just agree.
Except for the glow, because that still hurts.
Except for
Oh man, her hive hate. I could just see Nim just recoil, even though I can't see him on cam.
Cameras off.
You guys can't see it, but I'm just looking at a wall right now. It's sad.
He's listening to REM just underneath the
Oh,
podcast.
Over there, Nim. Crawling in my skin.
We'll give him some alone time. He'll be okay. I have some Girl Scout cookies. I'll send some.
Thin mints, please. Thank you very much.
Oh, Thin Mints.
Only in the fridge. Chilled Thin Mints, yes.
The preferred Girl Scout cookie of dredging everywhere.
It almost looks like Glow inside.
Ew. And with that, I think that's a perfect way to end this week's episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, Miss Tiddly, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been a pleasure having you on board.
Thanks.
And before we get out of here, give you a chance to let everybody know where they can find you across the internet. If you got anything special coming up, now is the time to shill it. So please take it away. Where can they find you?
Just on Twitch, Monday through Friday, 8 CST. I'm never on time though. Is any Twitchcaster on time ever?
No, none of us are.
Okay, good. There you go. Yep.
There you go. We've got a link for that over there in chat. Find her at Tiddly. Some good stuff. You going to be streaming some more Destiny this week?
Oh, heck yeah, for sure. I got work to do. Yeah.
Going to be doing some Crimson Days? Is that going to be a thing?
I think there's some gear to grind for. Yes, absolutely.
Right on. Looking forward to that. All right. Now we're going to go through everybody else. Aura, you're the big man in the middle. What's going on, man?
Hi, everybody. My name is Aura. You can find me at twitch.tv/Aura. On Twitter, at EvilAura, 3VIL_AURA. And now on BattleNet. Find Gamer on BattleNet is now just Aura. But it's not just Aura. It's literally just the word Aura.
It's just Aura.
It's just Aura. But
That's not confusing at all.
Fine.
Yeah.
You'll find me.
So are you doing a whole rebrand as just Aura right now?
Just Aura.
It's like is just part of it, or is it Aura?
The artist formerly
just
known
as
as
part of it.
Aura.
You should just change your name to a symbol.
It might have to change it to just Aura for. It might be just Aura for my Uplay Epic Origin gamer name thing, because there's 8 different launchers I have on my PC right now. We'll see. Stay tuned for all of that great stuff.
XX Evil Aura.
Stop it! I missed it already.
How did they call me the edgy one?
Edge. Speaking of you edgy one, where you at, Nem?
TBO? Gonna have some words. Nem plays everywhere.
Good stuff. What are you gonna be? You gonna be doing some Destiny with me this week, or?
Dude, I got a Division.
Well, you got Division for one more day. I think it goes away tomorrow? If not,
it goes
tonight?
away tomorrow.
No, yeah, but I bought Division 1 for the $5.
Oh,
Ooh.
you want to Division 1?
Yeah, dude.
My man. All right,
Ooh.
cool. We're gonna get on the power leveling on that. I will drag you through. That's good. Oh, that's gonna be fun.
Is that on PC?
Yes, it is on PC. $5 right now, actually.
Oh.
Yep.
I have $5.
Go buy it.
$5?
on PC.
I have
Yep.
$5.
That's
I
awesome.
can not
I got
do Subway
$5.
footlong for one day.
There you go. What's up to us? Dan, what's up, man?
Sorry, I was thinking about
No
that foot long.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Okay, so we're wrapping up the show, guys. Thank you so much.
Hey guys, my name's Danfinity. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DanFlannelty, which Drafty and his son were kind enough to actually send me a flannel t-shirt.
Oh, yes.
That I'm now going to put that on the front of sometime in the near future, screen printed. So you can find me twitch.tv/Danfinity. I'll probably be playing some Mass Effect 2 this week. I just started that last week, and I'm having a blast with it. It's pretty great.
Awesome.
You're still making your way through all the Mass Effect games, right?
Yeah. So last week finished out ME1, and I'm literally like 45 minutes into Mass Effect 2. So I'm really liking the shooting mechanics a little bit more. They're a little bit more modern than Mass Effect 1, but I'm missing the RPG aspects a little bit.
Yeah, enjoy it. I think Mass Effect 2 is probably my favorite out of the series there. 1 and 2 are just such great games, and 3 is pretty good too. So I hope you enjoy it, man.
Yeah, should be fun. Should be good.
All right, and of course, my name is The Black Link. You can find me pretty much everywhere on the internet, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all at The Black Link. This week, I was going to try to figure out what in Destiny I was going to be doing, but I don't have to worry about that. I get to carry Nim through Division 1. So that's probably what I'm going to be streaming. Like all week until Anthem comes out on Friday, I want to say.
Yes, sir. The 15th.
Like all the people who spent way too much money on it. And then I'll be streaming that. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it for episode 189 of the Planet Destiny podcast. This one has been super duper fun. Once again, thank you so much, Tiddly, for joining us tonight. Dr. Tiddlywinks, Esquire.
Indeed. Nope.
Thanks so much for being here, and we will catch you guys next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.